dann lass uns noch ein bisschen tanzen.
GDA. Viva la fiesta.
Viva la fiesta.
Viva la fiesta.
Viva la fiesta.
Viva la fiesta. Viva la fiesta.
We stayin' forever.
Sophie.
We stayin' forever.
Seks, zdravlje, pravoslavlje. Pojačaj me malo da se čujemo u slušalici. Ej, to. Čitam Bibliju znemiren, pitam Svetog Iliju pa desi bre. Prvo mesto mi je porodica, na leđima je Bogorodica. Šta će biti za 10 godina, koliko dece bi mi rodila. Još uvek pronalazim Isusa, al osjećam da Bogu blizu sam. Mnogo žena, ja na nizu sam.
Can I get a sex, zdravlje, pravoslavlje in chat?
Pa mnogo pesama napisao sam, preživeo sve što pričao sam. Svako jutro ja trčao sam, sve droge ja šmrko sam. Sam u kući tad drko sam, dan i noć ja pobrko sam. Čak i par puta ja ukro sam, al nisam ponosan na grehe. Ali sjećanja mi bude smeh. U ženama pronalazim lek sine, ali bolje to nego krek sine. Sad imam sef, nemam štek sine, i jedem stek a ne mek sine. Ja sam mnogo tvrd, ti si mek, kada dođeš do ovdje nema back. Tvoja mala hoće moj seks, tvoja beba da mi lap dance. Iskoristio sam rap chance, sada pravim pare trap cash. Ako umrem mlad bit ću lep leš, hteo biti ovako ali ne smeš, that's fact sine. Seks, zdravlje i pravoslavlje, 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 muda od bika i srce lavlje. Čitam sveto pismo, drugari više nismo, više ništa nije isto, u zatvoru nijedno pismo.
No disasters, what happened? What happened, brother?
Vi ste umetnici gistro, aj sad dajte malo hejta. Ribe vam jebe mi bez dejta, pa vidimo se lejta. Dal se osjećaš ko retar, a ja kao Sveti Petar. U leđa duva južni vetar, čuva me Sveti Jovan Krstitelj. Možete samo da se mrštite, kurve na kolena da pušite, u suzama se gušite. Ja punim džep, ja sam trep sine, nisam slep, ja sam lep sine. Tebi trebaš lep hendikep sine, a ja hvatam lep ceo svet sine. That's fact sine, fact sine. Muda od bika i srce lavlje, seks, zdravlje i pravoslavlje, 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 muda od bika i srce lavlje.
Welcome in chat, welcome in chat, welcome in chat. Lumpens, subs, Oilers, and most importantly, our beautiful coppers. How we doing, how we doing, how we doing? Enjoy a few beats, a few classics with DJ Hugo, and Political Hugo will enter chat in a second.
Gentlemen, give up, hummus, repertoar, la-bap, ura Leci băuța, de-te Iohannes, totorul, șereul lăp Тем шире распинут ноги, чем чище налечь Тем больше налоги И лестницы, коридоры, суппорты в опоры Осталось прошлое, 23 под подошвой И жоги ножки
I day, it's the weekend, you beautiful pieces of shit. Let's wake the fuck up. Welcome in, my pro-trans radicals. What is up, baby? What is up, baby? What is up, baby? I have to say that was one of my best sets ever, even though I wouldn't really call it a set. I am just sitting here with a mouse moving through songs, bro. But that Kalinka into the Blade theme song sped up by 30% was pretty organic, eh? I think it is pretty organic. Sure, twins again. Oh, twinsies! Yes! Yes! Twinsies! I love talking like an American. It is so fun. There are two types of Americans. The other sound like, hell yeah, brother. Brother, I love fucking my sister, brother. Or, twinsies! Yes! Oh my god, queen, you look beautiful! Okay? Those are the only two types of Americans I accept, okay? Thank you, Dude Control, for the 5 months. Should I quit this political commentary thing and just mix music? Would you come in for that? I doubt you come in for that. As a trans gay American, I'm the second. Wouldn't it be like edgier if you were the first? Oh yes, Lenny. Thank you, Lenny, for that purple juice. Thank you for that purple juice, Lenny. Jesus Christ, Lenny, you taste so good, Lenny. Oh my God, I love those taxes, brother. God damn it. It's fucking leaking everywhere. Socratics, 5th month. Let's go, 5th month. Very good. I like it very much. What's up, chat? How you doing? 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 Only if it was 800 hours of industrial donk. Fuck yeah. That's my culture. I can make music for you. Let's fucking do it. I'll be like a proper DJ. You put in like all the work, time, and effort, and then I play it. And I like make the volume go up and down a little few times, and then I transition it into it. You know? I'm kidding. DJs have to do a lot more. Some of them, some don't. Eagle M16, purple juice in my mouth. I fucking love that purple juice. I'm going to call it purple juice now. It sounds better than oil, I feel like. Give me that purple juice. Give me that perp. Doesn't that just sound like lean? Make EDM and trap and shit. I'm down. That's so cool, Pink Kale. I didn't know that about you. Very, very cool. Very, very cool. You see, chat, you always tell me there's no cool people in chat. We would literally have a person that makes EDM and trap in chat. So, legendary. And Pink Kale gave me a few compliments about my music style from time to time. From my, not music style, music tastes. So, now it counts. Ha ha! He's not just a plebeian like the rest of you, chat. He actually understands music and gave me a compliment. Ha ha! Ego increased by 30%. Ooh, look at me, look at me. Thank you, Alexophilia, very much for the 12 months. I know how to put a CD in and press play. Motherfucker, Motherfucker, how old are you? Imagine, like, remember 5 years ago when a lot of people thought that they can make, like, large businesses from cycling CDs? Remember when it was a trend to put vinyls on your walls? That was, like, a whole thing. I just remembered. Putting vinyls on your walls and hats. That was a dormitory thing, I feel like, right? That was more of a dormitory thing. We put hats. I was that guy. I was like a massive cliche. I collected empty alcohol bottles. What? Why? And I had like the hats on the wall. What? Young people are objectively cringe. The older you are, the less cringe you are until you become too old. And then you metamorphosize in the ultimate cringe machine, which is, okay? Everything in between, like myself. I'm 45, soon 46. That's the perfect age. My age, 39, is absolutely. I'm turning 51 next year. 31, I grew up on cassettes, recording cool things from the radio to play later. Of course, brother, I'm fucking with you. You had access to that shit pretty early. Good. I can one up that. I know how to put in a cassette and press play. You know how to rewind them with a pen, with a pencil? What I remember my dad doing. I never did it myself. You have a Dushanka on the wall. I'm not that big of a cliche. I am not that big of a cliche. Instead, I had an Ushanka on my desk where I studied and worked. And I had an anarchist flag on my window, on my dorm window. I had an anarchist flag on my dorm window. Oh my God. Yeah, way. I collected bottles, I put hats on my wall, and I had an anarchist flag on my window. Way. Absolutely way. Yeah. To subscribe so I don't go back to that life and save the hype train. What's a cringe thing you remember doing? I mean, I don't think that was cringe. Back then, it wasn't cringe. People even gave me compliments to my room. You know what I had? Nobody had that in a dorm room. A whole ass 50-inch TV. I bought it off a guy that stole it for $50. $50. How do I know it was stolen? Because when somebody approaches you and asks for $50 for a TV, I'm pretty sure he's not just enjoying free commerce. Cringe is a social construct. Absolutely. Everything. This is Essential Committee waiting room. This is waiting room for your mom's house, bro. Maybe he just really did not want that TV anymore. He's like, please take this TV away from me. Just give me a symbolic amount of money. Definitely not highly addicted to substances. Up, Deva Kitty. That TV is hot for sure. Yeah, it was a horrible TV. It was super shitty as well. But I had a TV. Everybody would come watch movies in my room. I had a PlayStation. Privileged. My parents bought me a PlayStation because I kept like a part of the scholarship. And we played games. Yeah, play games all the time in that fucking chill. My room was chill. That room we did like like what we did on last week of graduation. My best IRL friend. We did I told you about this. We did a 24-hour bender, drinking without stopping for 24 hours. I died at the 22nd hour. I literally like just died. I thought I was gonna die. The other guy kept going, but then like a couple of days later, he admitted to me he used he cheated. He used the powder of power, the power powder, and I don't do that shit. So to this day, I'm telling him that I am the victim. I have not, like, dude, like using coke in a drinking competition, like using steroids and shit in sports. Fuck, like supposed to be relatively bro out here lying to his bro. That's some pussy shit. It is. Special sugar. Gotta say, I tried coke and it just tastes bad. Didn't do anything. Yeah. Deva Kitty, somebody sold their fucking baby powder. He's like, man, that shit didn't have any effect on me. When I was a youth in Poland, we had a Pegasus. That's my Soviet era throw. That's very cool. That is very cool. I have my ball cap collection on my bedroom wall. Oh my God. There's still time, brother. Or sister, I don't know. But if you do enough cocaine, you can become the director of the FBI. The coke to Fed pipeline is very real. Very real. What's up, James from the other day? Very nice to see you, mate. Very nice to see you. In fact, I just took my ADHD. That's your coke, dude. What's up, paralyzed pendant plug? What a beautiful. Love plugging myself with a pendant. Nah, I'm 45. It's too late. No, it's not. So for you, it can kind of be like a beautiful thing. Going retro, doing it ironically. Yes. Coke just made me quote poetry at people. Not want poetry. Lesbian hot sauce. Have I ever told you that you're literally a woman version of me? That is fucking fantastic. Eating a freezer pizza because if I take my VANCE on an empty stomach, I get shit. Don't do drugs. Drugs, please don't do shit. I don't do drugs. I am drugs. Dies of cringe. Dies of cringe. If somebody actually says that to me in real life, I don't do drugs. I am drugs. I will punch them in the nose. I think that's deserving of like a little, just like instinctual bam. Thank you, James, for the sub. Thank you very much. I don't have a drug problem. I don't have a drug solution. Okay, Toasty, now I want you to fly back from your chair because I want you to imagine that I just punched you in your face, okay? Imagine great pain on your face. Now fly back. Do like that one emote that I have of me falling off the chair here. Well, don't let me forget, ever. Life is a drug, bro. Yeah. Секс, дрога, алкохол. Секс, дрога, алкохол. Zdravlje, pravoslavlje. You guys punched me. There you go, Toasty. That is what is just... Officially, Ugopnik punches women. The only reason I chose two women to be my producers, both here on this show and on the reaction pod, so that I can be mean to women. No? I did it in reverse. Intentionally. Okay, I want to partner with you guys because I want to be a dick to women, not to men. You knew it, right? Absolutely. Dude, come on. That's... I do DEI so that I can be abusive to ethnic minorities and women. Motherfucker, all like you look at his team and it's only women of color, and he hires them because he's racist, so that he can be a piece of shit. And that's a fucking movie right there. And that's an AI generated fucking Netflix movie right there. That's a bit straight out of The Boys yourself. Not exploiting immigrants. I'm doing DEI, bro. Bro is literally whipping undocumented immigrants. And he sleeps like a baby at night because he's like, I'm an equal opportunity employer. Oh, kurva. I got baking soda. Man, that's a throwback. Whip it through the glass. I worked for a guy who only hired women and would tell us to our faces that he hates women. True story. Incredible human being. Some people just want to live it edgy, you know? They want to live it edgy. And speaking of edgy, I didn't do anything much yesterday. I went out for a little bit, came back home. Tonight I have movie night in 3 hours. I'll have a bunch of Ukrainians, Russians, and a Macedonian and a Bulgarian are going to come to my place, and we're going to watch movies. We have it like a movie night tradition because my friend group is very international, where once every 2 weeks, somebody hosts. This time it's going to be me. And we watch shows or movies from one of the other nationality, right? Now we're watching this thing about Chushpani and Patsani, Russian modern show about the dying era of the Soviet Union. It's the late 80s, you know, shit is not running proper. And first, like, organized crime in the late Soviet Union. Like, really, really the beginning of it. Story basically is an eight episode show, and it follows two young men slowly get dragged into that criminal underworld. And it is very interesting. It's very, very different. Not a bad show. It's not a bad show at all. It's depressing as fuck as you're watching the death of the Soviet project, but it's treated respectfully, treated very, very respectfully. It's a good show. So we watched 4 episodes. Now we're gonna watch. Are there any Russians or Ukrainians or Belarusians or Kazakhs in chat? Can you remind me what the name of the show is? I want to show chat like about Шпани and Пацани. Я тебя буду убить, Шпан. Пацани don't go. Like it's very Volk type shit, but it's good. Thank you, God of Negativity, very much for the 2 months. It's been a pleasure to have you here. No, thank you for your generosity. What's the name of the show? I'm trying to remember. Come on, guys. Literally, like, no Eastern Slavs in here. There has to be at least one Eastern Slav that knows about the show. And tier 2. Oh, my God. Big dick shit. Tier 2. Fuck. I should milk, like, the tiers more. What would convince you to elevate tiers, chat? What would convince you to actually elevate tiers? What can I do? I'm Slavish. Venezolano. You're Slavic. Or subscribers to the Reaction Pod Patreon. How does that have to do with the tier? I'm the guy that like pushes the show so much. Freda didn't plug it in his last video. I give him so much shit. Nice balaclava today, bro. Thank you, bro. I love wearing balaclavas and eating balaclavas. Anyways, check out the Reaction Pod. It's a great show that I run with a Panamanian man and a Norwegian lady. It is very fun. We talk about chuds. We talk about chud politics. We talk about the digital front of the right. The last episode that came out was on Candace Owens. I think you guys will enjoy it. Now let's get right into the news recap with a kneecap. It's the 15th of May, 2026. Thank you very much to the producer for getting these slides together. For those of you who don't know what this is, it's very simple. We recap everything that has happened in since the last stream so that everybody is on the same page. And so that you don't have to spend all day checking out the news, okay? It is condensed more than your mother's milk. Friday, Finnish rightworm is daily affecting you. Friday. Okay, not bad. Now let's get into top stories while you were out. Okay, CBS. DOJ plans to indict 94-year-old former President Raul Castro. The Southern District of Florida will oversee it. The Gusano Deep State is truly miraculous. CNN, U.S. Border Patrol Chief Michael Banks has resigned, the third from the Department of Homeland Security leadership. Really? Very interesting. Turns out it does something to your soul to be a brown shirt piece of motherfucking shit. Okay? AP. Violent clashes erupted in Bolivia's capital, La Paz, as mining groups protested around Plaza Murillo, seeking greater access to explosives, fuel, revised contracts, and implementation of mining regulations. Unions unionizing in a very unionizing way. Reuters. IMF warns global economy is moving towards an adverse scenario due to the Iran war, potentially raising inflation to 5.4%, cutting growth to 2.5%. Who saw this coming? Yes, absolutely everyone, including your grandmother. Turns out when you start an unprovoked war that you cannot finish, indirectly stimulating your foe to discover an economic nuclear weapon, which is what we can very proudly call the Strait of Hormuz, it will have unyielding consequences on the rest of the world. L after L after L, a JD Pondon does not disappoint. Al Jazeera. District Judge Richard Leon blocked U.S. sanctions against UN Special Rapporteur Francesca Albanese, ruling her free speech rights were violated. Very basado. Basado. But did I hear based? Because why is it just shaking if it's so based? Oh, yeah. Gizmodo. AI chatbots like ChatGPT, Gemini, and Grok Grok, is this true? Ask Grok in chat. I think we have a function for Grok. Are revealing private contact details, surfacing real phone numbers despite privacy guardrails. Who the fuck is surprised by this? Who the fuck is surprised by this? What? Not gonna lie, low-key love AI news because it just gets worse and worse every time. You Groknik, is this true? No. That is why I have DeepSeek. Do your thing, man. Deal. Senator John Fetterman, my favorite American. Okay, the quintessential American. When you open the Sims game, when Sims 5 comes out in 2078, you open the Sims game and you choose nationality. If you click American, I want John Fetterman to appear as the stock Yank white man. Okay. And before somebody tells me that John Fetterman is not white, okay, even if he isn't, he is spiritually white. He can be spiritually white. Okay. Why Latinos are spiritually Slavic and the way Slavic are spiritually Latino, and you can also be spiritually white. Don't give your AI girlfriend your credit card numbers. Yeah. I just broke up with my... It was not toxic enough. No ethnicity in a hurry to claim Fetterman. Senator George Fetterman said the Democratic Party base has become increasingly anti-American amid calls against U.S. military intervention in Venezuela, Iran, and Cuba. I mean, he's kind of right. Being against American interventionism is basically being against the core of what it means to be American. So I guess they are being anti-American. They are what's the word? The shit that like commies throw at one another when they want to call you a not real commie. My brain just stopped. Are revisionist, okay? They are revisionist Americans because they want to revise American culture away from the belief that you gotta go kill motherfuckers. Trans-inclusive misogyny reminded me of this. Got reminded again of my, what is this? A link. Can I open it here? Is it possible? Got reminded again of my old coworker who was a massive misogynist, but also trans-inclusive. Told me he believed trans women are indeed women because only women would be stupid enough to want to be women. I wonder what he's doing now. He also aggressively corrected himself whenever he accidentally misgendered a trans guy. We knew because there's already more women than men in the world. The more numbers we steal from them, the better. Did that even when the trans guy wasn't around. We need a word. You know how we have a word for trans exclusionary radical feminists or whatever? TERFs? We need a word for like women exclusionary people who are, show trans solidarity, but for like sexist reasons. That would be funny. Site. Italy's foreign ministry confirmed 5 Italian nationals died while exploring underwater caves in the Vavu atoll at a depth of around 50 meters. Rest in peace. Term. Trans-inclusionary radical misogynist. Who's a term here in chat, bro? Holy shit. Terms, dude. Terms. Can I see a show of hand of proud terms, bro? Don't be afraid. Don't be afraid. CTV. Montreal sex workers plan to strike during Formula One weekend, demanding recognition as employees entitled to workplace protections. In other news, from the BBC, a UK study of more than 2,000 adults found that 1 in 7, that's 15%, have used AI for health advice instead of a doctor. That's not true. Much more than 1 in 7. It's at least 50%. It is at least 50%. It is at least 50%. Are the Tate brothers theorems? Yes, they are. That's a great point. That's a great That's a good point. They are. They are. Bad day for Turks in Australia today, by the way. This trans woman signed up for an app and they banned her, so she sued them and they had to pay $10,000 in restitution. They appealed it to a higher court and they found in favor of her, and now they have to pay $20K. Get that bag, girl. Yas. NPR, a study in PLOS ONE describes a 59,000-year-old Neanderthal mauler from Russia's Chagirskaya cave having a deep hole believed to be evidence of an invasive dental procedure using stone tools. Holy shit, teeth have been a menace since forever, okay? I don't know. I don't know if God or nature or whatever was just having a epic joke time when they gave us teeth, because like they're exceptionally important, but also like, bro, why break so easy? Bro, why constantly sick? If so cool, bro, why? Bro, what? Okay, teeth are a dentist psyop. That's what I say. Well, that's what I say. Le tooth is le psyope of the dentist. Big dent. Big dentist. Big dentismus. I forgot the pig. Don't worry, my friend. Newsweek. CIA whistleblower James Erdman III claims the agency seized roughly 40 boxes of JFK and MK Ultra files from Tulsi Gabbard's office. Fascinating. And now, two truths and a lie. We're back to text. Please use your channel points to show how well you know the Orange Man. It is ethical gamba time. You have A, B, and C. You got to choose and put your money, your virtual money, where your mouth is. You got to pick which one of these is fake. First one is CNBC incorrectly reported that the great Jensen Huang of NVIDIA was not invited to the incredible gathering of the world's greatest businessmen, businesswomen, proudly going to China. In actuality, Jensen is currently on Air Force One, and unless I ask him to leave, which is highly unlikely, CNBC's reporting is incorrect, or as they say in politics, fake news. Then we have B. For many, many years, Iran waged war on our great ally, Israel, via proxies, and we call this peace, but no more. Okay, that's B. And C is, if you'd like to see the construction of the reflective pool located between the Washington Monument and the Lincoln Memorial, and look at the beginning of what will be the final sparkling blue surface, go check it out right now. Obama and Biden, etc., etc., etc. Okay, he has too many normal words and sentences. Interesting. Let me see how it's going. For now, most people think that B is fake. Great national unity. We have only 2,000 people that are betting on A, and we have 50,000 on B. Jesus, somebody dropped some crazy channel points right now on B. We are at 125,000. And as you vote, I must remind you that this show has 0 ads, that this show has 0 sponsors, that it is fully funded by this large, beautiful international community we're trying to build up here. So if you want to support it, use your Prime, subscribe individually. If you've been gifted a sub, it will be very cool for you to continue it or to forward it to another person. That allows for us to make a decent living, for us to improve the show, and hopefully grow in the future. Thank you very much for considering it. Let's see who our first Western taxpayer is going to be. That's always very difficult. You got to have big balls, very large testicles, a big hog to be the first one, because nobody wants to be the first one because it is awkward. Fuck. So, let's see. Who's going to oil? Who's going to purple my face? Who's going to purple my face? Purple my face. Okay, chat. Let's see who won in the channel points. It is B. You guys really guessed this one. really guessed this one. Nobody went with good old A. But let's see who the biggest losers are. The biggest loser is Liven with a 2K, and oh my God, Life according to it doesn't read the rest of your name. Life according to. I want everybody to point and laugh at Life according to. Okay. B was parsed from a Franco speech. That's crazy. That's fucking crazy. Biggest winner is crazy. 72,000 soldier tribute points from Toxic Sea Sponge. Okay. W for Toxic Sea Sponge and point and laugh at Life According to Bird. Bro, I mean, you fucked up. And now somebody gift them a sub so they don't feel as bad. Man, oil, we're struggling with oil this week. It's crazy. Gas is like $6. Eggs are $9. I have to Klarna my depression meds. Is anything free anymore? The pedophiles are free. I love their tiny little faces. It is very cute. It is very nice and cute. It is very funny. Okay, now let's get into the news. Lots of chud talk over Trump visit to China. Thank you, Cuphead. You're making my producer fucking pay for oil. This is crazy, man. This is crazy. Am I now being exceptionally fucked up by gaslighting you and using my producer as a crutch towards making you feel bad about not spending your money on a random guy on the internet? Yes, I absolutely am doing that. But I'm now mentioning that I'm doing that as a hope to not be hypocritical. But as I am doing that, maybe that's also a marketing campaign in which you're going to say, oh, look how very honest and direct this man is. He deserves my money more than other streamers because he is so honest and they are not. But huzzah! What if I was doing that intentionally, which would render me exceptionally dishonest? Huzzah! I can't believe I just said huzzah. Yes. You must decide. Is it all a marketing ploy? Or is some of it true? It's all a marketing ploy. But then now I'm being meta-honest about all of it being a marketing ploy, which of course can be utilized again for you guys to subscribe because you're like, okay, he presents his greed out in the open, so he's a little bit better than everyone else. But am I, because I am using it out in the open, potentially also as a trick? So it's you cannot trust anybody on this website. Except me, of course. Except me. I am trustable. I'm trustable. Anyways, we got Tucker Carlson. We got post-China visit news. We got a lot of interesting stuff today, so let's get right into it. I can see that my tactic is definitely working.
And says it was an incredible visit. For who? What was accomplished and what was the initial goal?
Yeah, also might want to back off the sleepy Joe Biden comment when you're falling asleep in public. Almost every time we see you.
Sentence.
The question is, what are the deliverables, as they put it in diplomatic terms? When you go to a trip, there's always something that's been wired ahead of time that you can say, we accomplished this here, we both walk away. They have said it's mutually beneficial without giving much specifics. President Trump announced that China had planned to buy now 200 jets from Boeing. Very specific news. When asked after the president left a couple of hours ago, Chinese officials kind of said, well, we made some deals that are mutually beneficial.
What's this? Before boarding Air Force One to leave Beijing, the entire U.S. delegation dumped every item given to them by their Chinese hosts, gifts, badges, pins, commemorative items into a trash bin. Nothing of Chinese origin got on the plane. The delegation had already left personal devices at home and used clean burner phones throughout the trip. Yeah, this is... I can't believe I'm going to give excuses for the fucking Americans, but this is the intelligence apparatus doing its job. You can't risk stuff potentially being bugged, right? Israelis are famous for constantly giving gifts to American politicians, even American intelligence agency officers, the ABC agency officers, the Alphabet agency officers that are bugged and shit. Are they paranoid? I mean, when in those positions, you should be like, yeah. I'm pretty sure everything gets thrown out in 100% of all visits. It'd be pretty crazy not to. Maybe except when they go to Israel, because They love being spied on by Israel. Here, have this gold-plated pager, my friends. Even the White House is posting pro-China edits. Dude, fucking White House China maxing on steroids, bro. Also coping like little bitches. Yeah, I saw this, yeah. Lol, I've never seen the Empire kiss the ring like this. I mean, I think the intern editing this genuinely doesn't think this video is kissing the ring. The person editing this and scripting this thinks that this is gonna look at how much they respect us in the world. Look at the red carpet they put out for our great nation, which, by the way, is a very third world thing to do. It's a very third world thing to do. For the internationals in chat, like when our presidents go to like a big important country and they're welcomed by the leaders of the big important country, they always like blasted all over domestic media because they're like, look, Bosnia, Serbia, Ghana, or whatever is now super fucking, is now respected internationally. Look at how the Chinese treat us. Look at how the Americans treat us. Blah, blah, blah. Look at how the Russians treat us. So it's very, very like second-rate, quote unquote. This is a bigoted term to use, but I don't give a shit. You know what I mean? It's a very like we are not numero uno country behavior, and America is doing it. Like the Chinese respect us. They respect us a lot. Americans genuinely think that a show respect means. Sometimes even government members fight about who is going to kiss the ring harder in the U.S. Classic. Recall you were wondering how Hasan got into suits, and it seems Zoran is the reason, as opposed to me screaming like an undick in chat about pocket skip wears and how they shouldn't match one's tie. Look at Erdogan. Absolutely.
Official did not confirm that deal. We'll see if that bears out. Let's bring into the conversation the former United States ambassador to China, Nicholas Burns. He also led the State Department's Iran policy from 2005 to 2008. Ambassador, great to have you with us on this morning. So now that the president is on the plane on his way back to Alaska for a stop there, assess for us what happened over the last couple of days and what the United States takes away from this summit.
Chat, we are hitting the first hour. We gotta have one Western taxpayer. I know there's a rich motherfucker in here. You can have courage. You can have pride. And you can be the first Western taxpayer of the day, which is sexy as fuck, okay? So sexy.
I think the most important thing that happened is that President...
Chat, tell that potential oiler how sexy they are if they pay their tax right now. Rate them from 1 to 10. Tell them, oh my God! Nothing is more attractive in the world than being the first taxpayer, okay, of the day. That's like crazy. It's crazy cool, dude. It's crazy cool. America warns us all of pain and destruction if we make trade deals with China, then double crosses all of us and goes back to...
And Trump went there, and I'm serious about that. It's a top-down system in China. Xi Jinping makes all the big decisions, so you've got to have head of state relations that work. And I hope that they've been able to establish that kind of relationship. But there are a lot of troubling questions left unanswered. The first is on Taiwan. You saw that shot across the bow by Xi Jinping, meant to intimidate the United States when Xi said that if the U.S. crosses China's red lines on Taiwan, there could be a conflict between us. That's meant to intimidate. And what I'm looking for is...
That's meant to communicate. That's meant to communicate. How are you intimidating by telling someone not to invade you? By telling someone not to encourage separatism? How's that a threat? Excuse me. Yo, this guy is so violent. He told me that he's going to punch me if I punch him. Oh, wow. How dare he tell me that he's going to punch me if I punch him? I'm going to punch him now because he threatened me with this.
is whether or not now the United States, the Trump administration, goes back to the big Taiwan arms packages that they put aside in anticipation of this visit to Beijing and move it forward. The Chinese obviously don't.
It was a war that's 9,500 miles away. I think that's the last thing we need. We're doing very well.
Would the U.S. defend Taiwan if it came to it?
I don't want to say it. I'm not going to say that. There's only one person that knows that. You know who it is? Me. I'm the only person. That question was asked to me today by President Xi. I said, I don't talk about that.
He asked you today.
He asked you if you would send troops, if you would. He asked me if I defend them. I said, I don't talk about that. I think the last thing we need.
Very interesting. I think it was in Hasan's coverage. I agreed very much with him. This is the first time in Trump's entire career that like he was actually a statesman. Like the formality, the way he addressed the Chinese, the unironic, like relatively wise diplomatic approach. Pretty crazy to see it. I think it has a lot to do with just like unchecked narcissism that's like out of control, where he unironically only treats people as a human if he considers them on his level. And Xi and even the People's Republic of China, he kind of sees on his level. So they deserve a normal conversation. Same with Zoran, same with, a bunch of people that he knows are his opposition, but they're an opposition that he can, that he actually considers an opposition, not like just, like the majority of the Democratic Party, just like fucking irrelevant, right? To him, completely irrelevant. Thank you, Lisa Muse, for the 4 months streak. Thank you very much, Lisa Muse. Very kind of you. This was the day Trump became president. He was like, oh my God, look at how they're running a country. Maybe I can try this thing. He likes winners. He hates losers, is the better way of saying it. He he genuinely despises them. He's like, he views himself as the ultimate meritocratic success. He believes meritocracy exists because he is proof of it. Tells himself, I'm just a middle-class kid that became president. If I can fucking do this, I have 1,000 failed businesses and 1,000 successful businesses. I fucking tried, and I won. So others that try and do not win, okay, just didn't try hard enough. To be fair, she greeted him with like 1,000 kids, so Trump was impressed. Yeah. The greeting was great.
Don't want us to
very good.
Do that, but we have to do it because we've got to strengthen Taiwan's defenses. I think that's the first big test. And the second test will be on Iran. It's not surprising that the Chinese said, Xi Jinping said that they want the Strait open without Iran as a tollkeeper. It's not surprising that the Chinese said they don't want Iran to have a nuclear weapon. That's been their position for 20 years since I was negotiating this issue for the George W. Bush administration. But what has to happen now is that China ought to go forward.
Not even Iran at this point wants to have a nuclear weapon. The only people who have a problem with a thing that doesn't have. Oh, motherfucker! He went inside. They didn't let me inside. What? I gotta be a president to go inside? Sorry, this is one of the temples, very beautiful temples in Beijing. And when you get to here, you can only view it from outside. You can't go in. Motherfucker! What? I gotta be elected president to be left inside? I'm no longer China maxing. Nah. I thought it was off limits for everyone. Nah. I'm done with China maxing. China Elling, more like it. USA. When I go to the USA, they let me in everywhere. Fucking hell. I guess you're going to have to restore Yugoslavia now. I'm working on it, my friend.
It's a considerable authority.
Authoruru Chinaman, yeah. Authoruru Chinaman didn't let me. Chinese man did not let me into their holiest of sites.
With the Iranian government and its credibility, and push the Iranians towards a ceasefire agreement. I'm skeptical that'll happen. That the Chinese will actually go out of their way to bail us out. So lots of other unanswered questions, but I think those are the two big ones.
Ambassador, just going back to your first question on Taiwan. Obviously, President Xi was looking for some distance between President Trump and Taiwan in a way that previous presidents have not shown that. President Trump has shown that he's open to being a little bit further from Taiwan than others have been. Do you have concerns that China perhaps smells weakness or vulnerability in this president in terms of his relationship to Taiwan and that it may actually take action there?
I do have those concerns. I have concerns that the Chinese feel that President Trump, in his second tour in office, has not been at all clear about upholding our traditional half-century policy, one China policy, which means that we do provide weaponry to the Taiwan authorities to help them strengthen their deterrence. And that's the opening. And you may remember about 6 weeks ago, President Xi and President Trump talked on the phone, and President Trump said he was negotiating this issue of arms sales with China. Well, no American president...
To an extent, like even if we're doing realpolitik, I wouldn't agree. Chinese are looking at a president who only in his first year started like, what, 5, 6 wars? So he does not look whatsoever like a president that would just sit and take it. I'm not giving compliments to Trump, but everything that we've seen in the last 365 days is a guy who is very, very, very willing to use American military might to secure what he thinks, sometimes very wrongly, as being in the American national interest. 6-7 wars, 676. Chat, we have reached the first hour. I must grift again, and I will simply say, look at this number. Look at it. Look, it's on my eye. And it's a 0. Turn it into a 1 so it pokes me. Who is going to be our first Western taxpayer? Or do I have to sick Cuphead on you? Do I have to sick Cuphead on you? Cuphead, do you want to be sicked? You want me to sick you? Come on, poke me in the eye. If it turns into a 1, I get poked in the eye. Westerners, I have given you this reverse apartheid system for a reason. You must pay your oppressor tax, okay? We are doing what is the thing? The when you punish someone or being them or something. That's it. That's my whole grift segment for the first hour. And I'm just going to be left to hang here. They're going to have new taxes soon anyway. Sourced 1, thank you for the 1, but it's not how the taxes work, my friend. Thank you very much, though. And I'm just sitting here looking like a pirate. Ardar pirate. No. Oh, well, I tried.
has agreed to negotiate what...
Tithing, yeah, I'm tithing you. Reparations. There's either no Westerners in chat or the Westerners refuse reparations.
We do towards Taiwan with the leadership in Beijing. So I think there is that concern. I don't think a Chinese cross-strait attack is imminent. That's not the immediate issue right now. But they do, I think, sense a weakening, a softening in the U.S. position. And I really hope that President Trump did not lead them in that direction during these talks.
Mr. Ambassador, President Trump, as mentioned, is wheels up from Beijing on Air Force One. He actually just provided his first thoughts on Truth Social about the summit. I'll just read the first sentence. China has a ballroom.
There you go. Maybe I shouldn't talk about China has a ballroom. That's so funny. Maybe I shouldn't encourage Western taxpayers because they're sleepy little babies. Maybe I should encourage beautiful developing world taxpayers like Pink Kale. I guess if I kind of have Western taxpayers, then maybe we should embarrass them additionally. So I call upon all my cave-dwelling filthy non-Westerners to rise up and use their stone tablets that they call debit cards. How do us developing world chatters send money to each other? We write it on a stone tablet and we frisbee it into each other's heads. So frisbee me your taxes. Thank you, Pink Kale, for being a beautiful motherfucker.
And so should the USA. So that shows you where he is.
And also has gun control, yeah, and healthcare, and controls over 50% of its economy, and it has capital serving it, and not vice versa. But I saw the ballroom.
Beijing on Air Force One. He actually just provided his first thought.
Maybe I should adopt Xi Jinping thought. Okay. Socialism with Chinese characteristics. Maybe that's going to be what gives me my ballroom.
It's on Truth Social about the summit. I'll just read the first sentence. China has a ballroom, and so should the USA. So that shows you where he is right now. He's pushing the ballroom. He also already mentioned something about the gold statue in Doral. I wrote a piece ahead of this trip that, saying that the goal was sort of to do no harm, that they didn't want to make things worse. And you correctly identified a couple of flashpoints that could be tension down the road. But it seems like the relations between the U.S. and China, the two biggest powers in the globe, didn't get worse over the last couple of days. But it also seems like not that much was actually accomplished either.
Well, it looks like there's going to be a resumption of agricultural purchases by the Chinese. That's very important for our farm and ranch economy. The Chinese have been diminishing it over the last couple of years because of all frankly, the friction we've had, both in...
Yeah, the Chinese are going to be building factories in the United States. It is time for the Chinese to outsource to the U.S., okay? Massive underpaid factories manufacturing labubus for the Chinese market is the future of the American labor aristocrat unless he switches sides, pays taxes.
The Biden and Trump administrations. They're also going to go ahead with the buy of Boeing, but they've been delaying that for 6 years. So I think that's just getting those two issues, agricultural sales and Boeing, back to where they should have been several years ago. The one thing that didn't happen, which I was encouraged by, is that there was no announcement that the Chinese would purchase the H200 chip from, this is the advanced semiconductor chip, from NVIDIA. And I think that's important because I have opposed the Trump administration's willingness to have our most advanced chips sold to the Chinese market. That only helps the Chinese competitors to our tech companies, but it also puts our military at a disadvantage because the People's Liberation Army.
You in 2 streams said you want access? Yes. Trusted one. Yep.
Will get hold of this sophisticated technology. So the fact that that didn't happen, I thought was a positive sign. And one last issue Scott Bessent talked about yesterday. He said there is going to be the start of talks between the two countries on artificial intelligence, particularly this issue of security from terrorist groups and criminal groups with Mythos model of
America really screwed its allies, banning us from using Chinese products like solar panels, EVs, and 5G internet. In return, we get to suck, boot, and overpay for basic necessities. It used to be a pitch that, sure, you would have to sacrifice certain things in order to be America's ally, but because there was enough imperial booty, enough imperial BBLs to go around, the price was somewhat worth it, you know? You got to be the extended arm of American empire, of American corporate interest. So on. You used to get something, is what I'm saying. But now, as the American umbrella over the world shrinks, the amount you can get as a ally is smaller, which eventually leads to a major contradiction in which you wonder, okay, why the hellion am I following through on American policy against American opponents? I'm not really getting almost anything out of it. And this is something that I've said 1,000 times. European socialists, specifically European socialists, should integrate into their rhetoric, okay? Their class-conscious project in its theses should also include a kind of European independence from both East and West, etc., etc. Because that argument will only grow as time passes, because people will start realizing that they're not really getting anything out of being America's favorite sons, because they're not even their favorite sons. You know what I mean? The more time passes, the less it's going to benefit Europe being America's lapdog. And when you point that out in a very strong, almost quasi-patriotic way, it can bring a lot of people into your party project. You know? Just think about it. Because the AfD is already doing it. In Germany, for example, to an extent. If you don't co-opt anti-American sentiment, and if you don't co-opt a populist pitch for an independent Europe, the right-wingers are going to take it. And then they won't even follow through on it. So don't be fucking idiots, okay? It's a gift that the Americans keep giving you nowadays.
So powerful, I think it does make sense for the U.S. and China to begin to talk together. How do we work together to mitigate the worst aspects of what criminal and terrorist groups could do with these powerful AI models?
Ambassador, as we've been noting for the last couple of days, it is extraordinary when you take a step back that the President of the United States, in the middle of a war with Iran, is meeting with the leader of China, who is backing Iran in the war that the United States is prosecuting. You touched on this a little bit earlier, but do you believe that China has the leverage over Iran to change the dynamics of this war, to at least bring them to the table? And are you skeptical that they will, in fact, use that leverage, if they have it, to help bring this war to an end?
You know, I think China does have a lot of leverage because they purchase 1.4 million barrels a day at a steep discount from Iran, at a steep discount in favor of China. China's been the largest, exporter of goods to Iran as well. And so they do have influence. I doubt they'll use it. You know, the old saying, don't interrupt your enemy when he's making a mistake. I think that's how the Chinese look at the United States right now in the Middle East, particularly in the Strait of Hormuz.
I see someone listen to a deprogram episode.
And the Chinese would pay a price, if you will, for forsaking Iran in terms of the politics of this.
We're here in Vancouver, British Columbia. At the
Let's check out a Gabor Mate conversation. This could be a great jumping off point. But before we do that,
so as you
an
guys
update on Tucker. Everything I fucking guessed, the pivot towards relatively class-conscious agitation hidden underneath very reactionary politics, as Tucker's, let's say, main platform is exactly what we're slowly seeing develop in his rhetoric. And here, I believe he is standing up for the little guy against the cocky billionaires who want to build massive data centers in proximity to their towns.
know, we've been covering the development of AI and some of the local opposition to AI extensively on this show. Joining us now to talk more about a new vision for how we should think about the development of AI is Zach Exley. He's a former senior advisor to Bernie Sanders, co-founder of the Justice Dems, alongside my own husband, Kyle Kulinski, and founder of the New Consensus think tank. Welcome, Zach. Great to have you.
Good to see you. Thank you. It's really exciting to be here. You guys, I have to say, you guys are really the one place where progressive populists are doing it right.
Oh, thank you.
And yeah, I mean, you've got this amazing combination of viewpoints, and I really think the right perspective that is going to serve us going into the decades
in Utah. Tucker challenges him quite aggressively on that. Let's go ahead and take a listen.
I would think, since you disagree with the Chinese way of life, which is pretty civilized in a lot of ways, but the one way in which it's barbaric is that it grants its citizens no real rights. And so I would think that you would be very worried about aping their system, which we are now doing. Like, they have total surveillance. It's a panopticon in China. We should create our own. Let's take 40,000 acres in Utah and make it possible for the government to know where you are at all times and what you're thinking, listening to you on your phone. Like, we have that. But I think you'd be upset about that.
You have to choose the less.
So there you go. This is what I wanted to show you because it's fucking brilliant. It is fucking brilliant. Okay, so he will be able to convince so many people that he is against what reactionaries always call the elites, but not as a class category and not as a consequence of systemic inadequacies, but as people that want to introduce a lifestyle to you that you don't want. Okay? So the good elites are normal billionaires who worked really hard and they made their money. Billionaires are good. What do you want? Filthy socialism? You filthy commie? Shut the fuck up. The only ones who are bad are ones that for some magical reason want to change society to look more like what they usually define sheepish and unfree and authoruru and so on and so on and so on. So Tucker will be able to co-opt a lot of negative sentiment, the way reactionaries very often have, towards billionaires, very real negative sentiments towards billionaires, away from a conversation of should billionaires exist, away from the conversation of why do billionaires exist, maybe it's a systemic problem, over to certain billionaires, I agree, are absolutely problematic, and we need to take care of them because, in this rhetoric right here, they are what? They are turning us into China. Okay? There's good billionaires, which is 99.9999999% of them, and then there's bad ones, who are usually Jews and or foreign or not convenient for us right now. Perfect scapegoats right now. And that is one of the most important aspects of reactionary politics that you need to understand. Please try to understand this. Please try to understand. Because good reactionaries do not shy away. They do not shy away from the conversation about wealth inequality. They don't. Good reactionaries don't shy away from it. They talk about it like crazy, but then they pivot you towards solutions that will in no way endanger the system or the status quo. Which in this case is, there are some bad billionaires that get bad apples, but we shouldn't throw out all the apples because of a few bad apples. It applies individualist decision making to a whole class of people. What's up, Abundant Apples? Hi, Hugo, and thank you so much for stream. I just ordered a book by Bell Hooks called The Will to Change, Men, Masculinity, and Love, and I'm very excited to get started. I heard that Bell Hooks is one of those great classic authors that you have to read at some point, so I'm excited for what it's about. While I wait for it in the mail, I spend the time in the best way possible, best stream and greatest chat I could dream of. I'm going to eat you. Jesus. I love when Abundant Apples comes into chat because you're a fucking Jew. Thank you very much, my friend. Hope you enjoy the book.
Of two evils in your scenario.
I still call upon our first Western taxpayer. I don't think this has ever happened. I'm gonna cry. I'm not gonna cry, but holy fucking shit! Like 1 hour in and 0 Western taxpayers is crazy. Like, what is happening to the Western economies, dude? Holy shit!
You'd be upset about
Maybe
it.
I should start streaming in China or some shit. That's where the money is now. Ha ha ha! No joke. Come on. There has to be one Billy, Tom, John, Bob, Chandler, in chat that will pay their taxes, potentially lead us to Gamba, make a few chatters happy for the show.
You have to choose the less of two evils in your scenario, and I'm telling you, what you should do is say, I want Kevin O'Leary to succeed. I want him to beat the Chinese in compute power, and then use the laws of the United States to make sure that you keep that compute power in check whichever way you want. But to not have it available, to put down my shovel, I don't think people want me to do that. Even the people in Box Elder, the majority of them want me to hold my shovel and start digging. And that's basically the debate we're having.
How do you know that the majority
because
of
they voted for it unanimously before the Chinese guys.
There was a referendum?
Like all this crap that's being spewed out.
Wait, hold on. Yeah, and I may have fallen for some of it, so you correct me. There was a referendum among citizens, or did some county board vote?
We actually went through the whole process that you have to do by their laws and were granted.
This man has the worst outfit of all time and 2 watches. Losing my fucking mind.
That you have to do by their laws and were granted.
Look, like watches, black ring, and then white gold ring, and then the edgy hat. And he couldn't even pull off the pins that hold his fucking tie down. It's too small at the head. I hate everything about this. It's making me very angry. It's arguably making me more angry than the conversation.
3-0. The commissioners of the county said, we want to be
3 people voted. The people of the...
For context for people, sorry that I didn't give it, they're trying to build the world's biggest data center next to a town. Going to have very probable large environmental impact on the town itself. Why they don't just build it in a random spot somewhere? Because they're capitalists and they want to cut costs. They build it in a random place somewhere, then they have to build a basically a corporate town right next to it. They have to pay a lot of money for labor because people would have to travel and live next to the data farm. It's going to be much more difficult to plug it into infrastructure because they would have to develop the infrastructure that goes to the data center, etc., etc., etc. That's why, because capitalist greed. Literally why. Even though they're going to make fucking trillions from the project, they still want to cut a few corners. Isn't it also near a body of water? Why don't they literally put it on the water? Why don't they literally do it like they do oil rigs? I'm serious. They don't, because you know how much people get paid to work on fucking oil rigs? It's going to cost them a little bit more. It's not going to bother anybody. You're going to have direct access to the fucking water it needs to, process data. Roma area is getting a data center sooner. We're months into a drought. So you go fucking stupid. I'm not even talking about ethics here or like fucking workers' rights. I'm talking just fucking absurd greed, even for capitalism. Absurd levels of greed. Salted water damages the equipment they need, drinkable water for cooling. I didn't say in the sea. I said build it on water. Build it in the middle of a fucking lake. A lake that has constant influx of water from large rivers. Like there's so many, but again, it's gonna like nobody wants to live in the middle of a lake. You're gonna have to give $200,000 yearly salaries for the engineers and your logistics people that just go there. Microsoft does that. Okay, a slightly less greedy corporation, which is insane that I just said about Microsoft, but you get my point. For everyone saying you're wrong. Thank you, Malrish, my knight in shining armor. Microsoft finds underwater data centers are reliable, practical, and use energy sustainably. Earlier this summer, marine specialists reeled up a shipping container-sized data center coated in algae, barnacles, and sea anemones, from the seafloor of Scotland's Orkney Island. The retrieval launched the final phase of a years-long effort that proved the concept of underwater data centers is feasible, as well as logistically, environmentally, and economically practical. Microsoft Project Natic, Geologists here, it sounds great, but it's environmentally disastrous. Even if there is no waste pollution, there is heat pollution, which is bad, if not extreme in short term. I agree completely. I'm simply speaking from an absurdly pragmatic perspective, right? Because this thing is going to happen, whether we want it or not. There's just too much money in it. Okay? That's it. That this is happening, right? So the only thing we can advocate for in a society that is not run by the proletariat, okay, is that they find the least damaging solution. And I know that's depressing, but that's where we're at, okay? We didn't do the revolution, guys. So now it's all just fucking damage control on top of damage control on top of damage control. You think EVs are perfect? For example, fuck no, they're not fucking perfect. But we're doing damage control in comparison to other, for example, vehicular modes of transportation. And now you can say, oh, let's fucking create amazing infrastructure where nobody has to use a car. I agree. But do we live in socialism, my guy? Your opinion, will it be counted in the Senate? No, it will not. So when I talk about this, I genuinely put on my centrist hat. Like, okay, so these data centers gotta be fucking built. Just fucking trillions of dollars in making them. Okay, is that inflated? Probably. But is it gonna happen? It's gonna happen. So like, let's fucking find something that is not as bad. And I'm not an engineer or a biologist, so probably wrong. But I'm just throwing, there you go, first 2 seconds about alternative solutions to what they are obviously doing that will do maximum damage, even to local human communities, right? Human, not just environmental, human communities. And before you say that you should not differentiate the two, you know what I mean. And I'm pointing out that when they're doing it, simply greed, simply cost cutting. Simply cost cutting. AI isn't ready, it's inefficient and unoptimized, and are brute forcing a unready product for quick cash. You look like a nice guy, but duh. Yeah, we know that, my friend. BBC is fake news now. Go ahead, Tabjad.
CENTCOM was asked yesterday about the strike on the girls' school on the first day of the war.
Oh, it's under investigation. You're talking about the original.
It was the only case of investigation at the moment into civilian casualties.
I think we have a couple of things under investigation, but that is under investigation.
Are you able to confirm yet that it was a US missile?
Who you with?
BBC for the radio.
Fake BBC. You mean the ones that put AI in my mouth? The ones that gave me, had me saying a statement that they now admit was not true? That the ones that put terrible words in my mouth and then had to admit that it was fake? The ones that are being sued now for $5 billion and don't know what to do? You're with BBC? They're another fake outfit. Yeah.
Fake BBC. I'm not a fan. There's 27 minutes of that. Trump Lambast reporter abroad Air Force One.
So we had a great stay. It was an amazing period of time. President Xi's an incredible guy. Got a lot of great trade deals, including over 200 planes for Boeing with a promise of 750 planes, which will be by far the largest order ever if they do a good job with the 200, which I'm sure they will. And that's General Electric also, the engines. So they're buying General Electric. So it's approximately 450 engines, 200 planes, and a promise of up to 750 if they do a good job.
Big BBC put AI in my mouth is a crazy sentence. It's a fucking crazy sentence. It's a crazy sentence.
We're here in
we're just repeating shit ad nauseum. Okay, is he gonna young men that are young? Okay, where is the conversation? Gabor mate. Gabore bate, štakor bate Gabor. Gabor, da se kaže Gabor ono da si. Ne zove li se neka životinjica Gabor? Let's hear this conversation. That can be a great jumping off point for some philosophy. I feel like talking philosophy, enough geopolitics for fuck's sake.
Wow. What a crowd.
Oh my God, leftist audio, son of a fucking bitch.
they're all here to see you, and I'm just honored to be on the stage with you. If we're being real, I've wanted to have a conversation with you for quite a while, and I'm glad that we got to do it in your hometown in Vancouver, beautiful Vancouver.
In a very intimate setting.
Very intimate setting, yes, of course.
Yeah.
So I don't know how this is supposed to be. I guess it's going to be a back and forth, right? In a regular conversation. Last time I did one of these, I had a journalist who.
Gabor is an old softie. I like Gabor. He's just the fucking pacifist mate, like pure one, like a fucking just fucking philosopher, dude. I love philosophers, but the ones that do not put down the work, just engage in intellectual masturbation, which there is space for intellectual masturbation. Don't get me wrong. Is that the point of life? To create a society in which we can just perpetually goon because we can choose to, both intellectually and for real. And speaking of goon, what do you need for gooning? You need oil, 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 and more oil. And I have no oil. Because this number right here, you see this number, motherfucker? It's a 0. Because Westerners are not giving me oil. Not a single Western oil provider is giving me my oil. I know the Hormuzzi is plugged. But not a single one. It's fucking crazy. So lay down the goon machine and oil this motherfucker. Or this number must go to 1. Must go to 1. God damn it. It must.
Was asking me questions about what I do.
Yeah.
Also, new tax brackets are going to come in. Cuphead is working.
But given that I'm the media figure and you're the prolific author.
Oh my God, yes. Oh Lord. This felt like I had constipation. Unironically. Constipated you got me con main. Oh, I'm fucking, thank you. Backshots FP, fucking great name, dude. Backshots, I fucking love Backshots and I love you. Thank you for allowing me to move this goddamn number from a goddamn 0 to a goddamn 1. W for Backshots in chat. Then we got Leistaro, tax-paying motherfucker, developing world tax-paying motherfucker. Purple juice, man. Painting that shit nice and fucking purple, okay? Good old oil, good old bowel movement. Backshot after backshot after backshot. W's for backshots, dude. God damn it, man. That's my reaction when I hear backshots is that. Oil shall flow. Now the Hormuzzi is unplugged. And what awaits us is a fantastic day. Because a sub confirmed. Me loving backshots does not mean that I love. That does not mean that I do not love giving them. Okay? I love how your mind immediately went to receiving backshots, giving back. China's president, the world is at a crossroads. Can the U.S. and China create a new paradigm of relations to meet these global challenges together? America's president. Chinese restaurants in America outnumber the 5 largest food chains combined. That's a big statement.
Academic, I will ask you some questions instead. Hopefully that's okay.
Let's see how it goes.
All right. So let's start with somewhat of a cliche, a question that you've probably answered a million times over your career.
Yeah.
How do you define trauma?
Sure. So trauma literally means a wound.
Trauma is literally when Western sub counted 0, bro.
That's the Greek meaning, the Greek word for wound or wounding. So trauma is a wound that hasn't healed. So it's really important to understand that trauma is not what happened to you. Trauma is what happened inside you as a result of what happened to you. So if I sustain a blow to my head, that's not the trauma. That's the traumatic event. The trauma is if I develop a concussion. So trauma is a wound that hasn't healed. And of course, that can happen physically or psychologically. In fact, you can't separate the two.
Yeah, you've talked about this
Could not agree more.
Distinction or the root of the word trauma. Do you want to talk about how it's evolved from being understood as something that is often physical to how it manifests in the body and in the psyche?
Well, again, Western medicine makes the unscientific mistake of separating mind from the body. So they'll think of psychological trauma or physiological trauma as being different. But I can tell you a number of things.
One of the greatest curses of our species is that we are limited to this filthy, disgusting meat slab of a fucking vessel. I'm a post-body maximalist. A lot of people think this is where I'm going to disagree with like 80% of chat. A lot of people think that the body is a blessing, while ironically, it is the only thing that is limiting us from flowing, both as energy, as light, as whatever the fuck you want to call it, through space and time. This is the body is an anchor limiting you to 70, 80 years in this particular era, in this particular place, and limiting you to the abilities that are organic flesh mass that you have been randomly spawned in at birth, that will adjust to material conditions throughout its whole life. It's a curse. It's a complete fucking curse. I can't believe you, a flesh prison. What the fuck, you're agreeing with me? I thought you were going to call me fucking insane for this one. What the fuck? My meat puppet is beautiful because it's how our planet gets to experience her. That is interesting, yes. The meat puppet is one extremely niche way of experiencing reality. The fact that it is the only one through which we have experienced reality does not mean it is the quintessential one. Therefore, applying that experiences outside of the body or experiences without the body, implying that they are somehow lesser, is pure, I guess, body-centered centered subjectivity, right? Well, fuck that shit. The fact you haven't experienced something does not mean that it cannot carry potential incredible weight. Also, that's another fucking conversation. What carries weight? What does not carry weight? What is an enlightened, incredible experience and what is not? It's purely subjective. So while something might be disgustingly horrendous to think of, to think about experiencing while trapped in the flesh prison might be incredible bliss to experience when not trapped in the flesh prison. But because we are trapped in this prison, we do not have the ability to imagine anything alternative. And it's not only about the body, it's about systems as well, my friends. Right? It is exceptionally, this is a cliche at this point, but it is exceptionally difficult to imagine alternative systems of societal organization to the one that you've been born into and the ones you've studied that have happened throughout history. Blah, 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 imagining this fucking cliche. I find it annoying, but still. Blah, blah, blah. It's easier to imagine the apocalypse than to imagine a better society. I reject the whole framing. You are the body. You are nothing more, nothing less. The body makes you human. Without it, you're nothing but a brain fart. There you go. An extremely, extremely body-centric perspective. Right? The body makes... I agree. The body makes you you. Without the body, we are not humans. To be a human is to be consciousness trapped in a flesh prison. Absolutely. But is somebody who is in jail only a prisoner? Or could they potentially be something very different if they had left the prison? What if we say, what if a baby is born in prison, lives its entire life in prison? Prison is an indistinguishable part of who they are. Most likely because their whole life they lived in prison, they like prison. They love prison. Okay? I was molded by it. You know, we're talking the Bane baby experiment or some shit from Batman, right? They probably even love it. And to present the world outside to them with its many complexities and intricacies that prison does not give you, they would say, that is not for me, for I am a prisoner. They would not be wrong, but they would also not be right. The person who has lived their whole life in prison, leaving prison, will no longer be that same person. The previous person dies at that very, 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 very second. But is that bad? Kubashi, while I agree, I'm like, okay, if we cease being human, it's a crazy thing for, as I deem myself, a human supremacist to say, but even if we cease being human from the perspective of a person with a body, that sounds fucking insane and horrible and scary. It basically means death, right? Would the alternative experience necessarily be better or worse? It's a contradiction to even call it better or worse. It's stupid. It would be other. Apparently it's philosophy day. Yes, my friend. It's philosophy and no taxes, apparently, day. Oh. Is the soul the body? Is the body the soul? Or is the body just as spiritual as the mind and the wholeness of experience? What you'd call the soul. That's what my personal thoughts are. Or is the body just as spiritual as the mind and the wholeness of experience? What you call the soul. It's a great presupposition. It's beautiful, right? But even if we agree that like experiencing life with consciousness through flesh, aka the body, is what constitutes the soul. Let's say, let's agree on this. Why does an alternative then to having a soul, aka not having a soul, if we're calling consciousness in a body the expression of the soul, why is that bad? It's alternative. It's non-corporeal. And yes, it wouldn't be the soul. It wouldn't be a human. But that experience could also be, there you go, we don't have words to describe it. There's all attributes we have limited to the physical realm. We are the body, consciousness, subconsciousness. Yeah, some of you are. Yes, my friend. Something. It's clear spiritualism isn't an objective experience. I have no spirituality. It doesn't mean it's not real. But it's this thing we do as humans. Questioning aspects of life and then answering them through a spiritual prism is, yes, something we do as humans. Was this you at Twitch no subemployment office? This is me when no tax is being paid.
Occupation?
Gladiator.
Did you kill last week?
No.
Did you try to kill last week?
Yeah.
Now listen, this is your last week of unemployment insurance. Either you kill somebody next week or we're gonna have to change your status. You got it?
Yeah.
Okay. Sign here. Next. Occupation?
Stand-up philosopher.
What?
Stand-up philosopher. I coalesce the vapor of human experience into a viable and logical comprehension.
Oh!
Man, I'm calling myself that the next time somebody asks me what I do. I'm a stand-up philosopher.
A bullshit artist. Did you bullshit last week?
No.
Did you try to bullshit last week?
Yes.
Comicus! 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 Back in the line. Back in the line.
He's not in line. He's not in line. He's my agent, Swiftus. Good news. I just got you a job.
Now that you're working, you won't be needing this.
Wait a minute. That money is mine.
I'm sorry. I'm on my wine break.
This is a great scene. Not bad, just immaterial, which a lot of commies here haven't had the best experience with, including myself, but I've softened up to it as I get older. It's not like, you not having a body does not mean it's immaterial. It is a new way of experiencing material reality. Okay? If you all of a sudden become a gas that can live on the sun and whose entire experience is melting in and out of it with consciousness, with some sort of insane, from the POV of a human, drug-fueled experience of burning in and out continuously. Basically, you're a fucking, I don't know, sun ghost? That's a material experience. Nothing exists outside of material confines. But if you meant like, when they talk about spirituality, metaphysics, yes. But there is nothing wrong in metaphysics. But the metaphysics is fucking sick. Philosophy is necessary if we want to develop something better than just a mega mall of a fucking civilization. But it shouldn't be used to organize material society, aka the way everything runs IRL, right? Like, that is supposed to only be based on materialist analysis. In the case of Marxism, dialectical materialist analysis. And the solutions that come from that. Not solutions, the information that we get from that we then use to organize, right? Like, trying to organize while pursuing, metaphysics, this and that form of spirituality, this or that, like, higher enlightened perspective towards what life can be, will just lead to fucking cults and fucking hippie societies. Like, we need materialism so we can build a society in which we can deal with metaphysics. Okay? That is my hot take. And so that we can create a human empire from here to the end of the galaxy. Okay? The clankers and the aliens shall be put to the sword, and we shall debate whether they are truly conscious or not as we burn their cities and laugh maniacally. Aha. There's so much we don't know and haven't found yet. It's not too far out that human body is not end all be all. Absolutely. But I will need evidence to believe. That's very fair. That is very fair. Yes, I separate my life philosophies between the ones to live by, the ones to think by. That's what everyone should do. That's what everyone should do. That's what absolutely everyone should do. That is the day I will turn on you. You're going to side with giant spider alien things. What if the aliens rape? Like, they're a culture of raping. That's all the alien does. Are you going to be like, ooh, what a fascinating alternative perspective towards civilization? Bro, it's very human centric to call it rape, bro. In their civilization, they call it growing the species by inseminating other species. Basically talking about the alien from Alien versus Predator. It's basically the fucking alien. It's literally the fucking thing that jumps and fucking basically rapes you and then murders your body to create another alien. We were like, oh my god, so fascinating. Let us have stoic conversations with them. Ooh, no, we purge, brother. We fucking purge, and we put some of them in fucking zoos. Okay. Xenomorph isn't sapient. What's going to be sapient and what's not going to be sapient? Isn't that interesting, eh? Isn't that interesting? Isn't that going to be human-centric as hell? Is that going to be human? Isn't that going to be human-centric as well? Why are you not calling it sapient? This is very alien-phobic. The only aliens, okay, that we will actually live with are ones that have somehow developed on planets that are somehow extremely similar to ours, which have led them to somehow have quote-unquote civilizations and cultures that we can fucking even begin to comprehend. Everything else will unironically feel like we're looking at a living plague, okay? Motherfucker's going to be so fucking weird. And we're going to be so fucking weird to them that there's no way we will drink tea together or enjoy each other's alienussy. Okay? The only alienussy you're getting is from a pretty humanoid, pretty similar, looking ass alien from a relatively similar planet. That is how fucking evolution works, you goddamn alienussy lovers. Any species intelligent? I know, I've heard this argument 1,000 times, Devakiri. Yes, and yes, they will be intelligent. But something being intelligent does not mean that you will be able to comprehend any aspects of how they express themselves. Like, absolutely any. It can be an intelligent space-traveling species that, does not communicate. It's not a thing. Not a thing. Literally not a thing. The concept of communication to it is like, what? I mean, it can't say what because it does not communicate. Let's imagine that. What the fuck do you do with that alien? Right? Stuff like this. It's a sentient species that travels the galaxies and believes that actually being trapped by the flesh prison of a corporal experience, what we talked about earlier, is actually a curse. So it genuinely believes culturally that it's the good guy that's saving all other species from the flesh prison by killing us, okay? We can't, what? That's contradictory to our experience. So we're, of course, going to fight them. You get what I mean? There's going to be so much diversity in the galaxy that it's not necessarily always a good thing. It's going to be beautiful and fascinating to see, but it's also going to be like genuinely mind melting to interact with in certain cases. So that's why I'll keep a fucking flamethrower just in case under the bed, is the only thing I'm saying. A lot of species are going to be so unironically grotesque to us that even thinking of interacting with them is going to be insane. And that's probably one of the main reasons nobody's ever seen us. Because any fucking alien species that might have fucking seen us, we look the way a man-bear pig covered in shit looks like to us, right? So they're like, what the fuck is that? You mean they take organic matter and they put it in their mouth, and then they parasite it, side of their organism, and then they throw out the rest, and they somehow transform it into energy so that they can do things? That is the most disgusting, grotesque, parasitic thing I've ever heard of. You're trying to tell me that this entire species generates energy by harming their planet. There you go. Alternative perspective towards eating. Imagine if you see a fucking alien that does something that's much crazier than generating bodily energy through the consumption of nutrients. How the fuck are you going to react? They have a solid exhaust. Grotesque is a human-centric concept. That's there. You got me there. That is very good. You absolutely got me there. Absolutely got me there. So maybe there's going to be a species that just want to interact because they find nothing grotesque. The same way I do not find Nickel Pickle Live grotesque because Nickel Pickle dropped me a $5, paid their taxes, and so should you. Let's go, chat. Paint that fucking pussy-ass chat purple. Make Numba go up. Drop Gamba. Get discounts. And start the eternal battle. And rise towards the 5,000 so that I can get a new laptop because I don't have one and I won't be able to stream when I travel. Actually, next week I'm going to travel like all weekend and like one day more. So I would have loved to stream, but I cannot because I spilled Guinness live on stream on the fucking computer. I'm actually glad that I spilled it live on stream because that way you know I'm not lying because it literally burned out midstream and it collapsed. So you know that I'm not doing like a internet beggar thing, but I'm like, yo guys, I don't have a computer, bro. What I would do to him. There you go, Kubashi. It's just always like you imagine, ooh, the sexy alien cat guy thing. Wow, of course. But nobody ever wants to talk about levitating sponges or some shit. Okay?
I can tell you that, for example, women with severe post-traumatic stress disorder have double the risk of ovarian cancer. In other words, the trauma shows up not just as a set of psychological disturbances, but as disturbed physiology in the body. American black women, the more experiences of racism they have to endure, the greater the risk for asthma. So trauma actually causes inflammation and narrowing of the airways. That could go on. Canadian study, men who were sexually abused in childhood have tripled the rate of heart disease, regardless of whether they smoke or drink or not. So that, again, the trauma psychologically that they endured translates into physiological effects. Not to mention, we're just 10-minute taxi ride or 5-minute taxi ride away from Vancouver's downtown east side. We're talking in Vancouver here. This is North America's most concentrated area of drug use. It's a severely addicted area. People are injecting and dying in the streets, just a few blocks away. And I worked there for 12 years. In the 12 years that I worked down there, I didn't have a single female patient who had not been sexually abused as a child. So trauma shows up in all kinds of ways. Mental health conditions, addictions, physical illness, of course, troubled relationships, shame about who you are, shame about the self, and loneliness.
So I do want to talk to you about loneliness.
Yeah.
But before we get to that, I wanted to ask you, we talk about the individual, but how do you account for the systemic forces that accelerate the trauma that people are experiencing, oftentimes born out of systemic racism, white supremacy, things I've heard you talk about in the past, genocides that are unfolding around the world, numerous crises taking place, and how atomized we feel as a byproduct of the current capitalist mode of production that we exist under. Do you feel like this is a heavy contribution?
Well, it's actually inextricable. Human beings are by nature what has been called biopsychosocial creatures. In other words, our biology is inseparable from our emotional states, which is inseparable.
To be an annoying Marxist about it, material conditions influence who you become. Okay, not just the genetics from birth that impact what kind of person you are very likely to be. It is the environment you find yourself into the majority of your life, and the older you get, the more sculpted you are. AKA, we're all mirrors of unities that have raised us. Hasan.
From our social relationships. When I mentioned
nature nurture both play a role, absolutely.
That women with severe PTSD have double the risk of ovarian.
But in Marxian terms, we say like you know, who your biological parents are is also like a material condition, right? That's the original material condition. The combination that gave you your flesh prison, right?
Brain cancer, nobody develops PTSD sitting in a room by themselves.
I don't think he's talking about. No, I'm not talking. Nobody's talking about.
Something happened. So that when you understand individuals, you have to understand the whole social culture that generates that individual's life experiences. And a system which atomizes people, which sets people against each other, which teaches us that human nature is by definition selfish, aggressive, individualistic, greedy, acquisitive, and suspicious, that's going to separate people from each other. Now that view of human nature has nothing to do with real human experience. It has to do with the dominant view of a particular social system.
Exactly.
But that will generate a lot of isolation, loneliness, and stress. So that you can,
AKA, if you want to lower societal trauma and negative impacts, you must adjust / change / modify the very system they find themselves in. If you like this message, we have reached the second hour. I encourage you to support this show by paying good old taxes, making Numba go up, oiling my booty up, or by making your fellow chatters day by giving them a nice sub. If you don't want to be a taxpayer, you can always subscribe individually. Have these conversations as often as possible and not just cover the fucking news. Thank you for coming to my TED Talk. My name is Ted Kaczynski. I'm wearing a mask. I stream from prison, actually.
North America, indigenous tradition, there's the medicine wheel, in which has 4 quadrants.
Concept of human nature is a very elastic one. I argue there's no real human nature as we adapt and mold, he said, from our material conditions. I share in your radicalism. I have a video for which I've read probably over 1,500 pages of research on nature versus nurture, and most scientific consensus agrees that it's basically a 50-50. 60-40, 40-60, depending on how the research was conducted. Usually they use, twins separated at birth so that they have the whole data set of genetics, blah, 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 blah. But and this is unscientific of me, this is because science does not agree with what I'm about to say. This is unscientific of me. I believe most of the theses that come from that research is pretty faulty. And I believe deep at my core, deep in my core, that conditions are almost everything. 95%. And the 5% that I leave out is, for example, for people that are born with what, unfortunately, in society we call disabilities, physical or mental ones. That Holy Mother of God, but your lived experience, right? But I generally think it's the environment. I disagree with mainstream science. I genuinely think it's almost all environment. Thank you, source code, for the 200 bits. Sorry, I had to write something on my phone. The only thing I give to quote-unquote human nature is what two wolves basically are saying. Your drive to find shelter, your drive to find food, your drive to find partnership and solace in it, usually as a means to procreate, but we've kind of grown out of that simplified view of it. Those drivers that are supposed to keep you alive, that's human nature. And they're very important, don't get me wrong. When you really think about almost everything that we've developed, industrial revolution and pre-industrial revolution, mostly just revolves around satisfying those base urges, right? Restaurants all about the food. Your living quarters and decorating it and obsessing over it and constantly looking for a better and nicer shelter. Looking for partners, obsessing with love, linking personal happiness with how happy you are in your relationship, etc. The base drive towards. Well, we did develop a lot of stuff around those urges, but we also developed other stuff because we are self-conscious. Allowed us proactively distance ourselves, organizing everything around base, finding fancier ways of satisfying said base urges. Started doing pretty cool shit. Being like, yo, bro, like, what even is life, bro? Right? Philosophy. That's why it's so beautiful. If Darwin concludes that environment forces evolution, why would human nature not be shaped by? Boy, it 100 million% is. I agree. I'm just saying, I think people put too much on. I think scientists put too much, and I think it will be proven right in the long term. They put too much pressure on. Not too much pressure. They say that the causality of the genetic combination that brought you to life, the particular fresh prison and mind that you're given at birth, plays an insane 50% role in who you become. Yeah, fuck nature. It's all nurture, baby. Whoa! But again, you should be very skeptical of what I'm saying right now because science disagrees with me. This is a rare Hugo vibes-based hot take. Exclusively vibes-based hot take.
The physical, the mental, which means emotions and thoughts, the social.
Yeah, absolutely Polaris, malaria. No, yes, that's why I say 95%. There are certain things are exceptionally genetic, and you know will impact your life like nothing else.
Which is a relationship with other creatures, and the spiritual, which is our creation with the whole universe. And rest means a balance. So I should say health means a balance in all those four quadrants. Now, that's not a mystical, naive, primitive way. That's actually what science has shown. So that the physiology is inseparable from our psychology, from our social relationships. So, individual health.
In Cuba, our first year of psychology is literally deconstructing Western psychology and pseudo-philosophy. Yes, humans are cooperative and social by nature, but even our struggles change with time, and we do surpass the struggles by appealing to that part of our nature. Yes, humans are cooperative and social by nature, but even our struggles change with time, and we do surpass the struggles by appealing to that part of it. Yeah. Absolutely. I'm living proof of nature being correct, raised by people without the same genetics. I am just like them. Shocker, shocker. There you go. Everybody remained in their seats and literally not shocked. Especially Marxists shouldn't be. A lot of people even throw us away as something vulgar materialists, in which they say that us Marxists think that it's just that if it's all conditions, then do you really believe in free will? And they bundle us with determinists, which to an extent we are, but by understanding the deterministic impact societal structures have on the direction society goes in, we try to kidnap power away from determinism by steering the very systems that govern us and determine our life. AKA, Marxists understand, okay, if what the ship looks like, the path it's going to go in is predetermined, okay? It might wobble a little bit, but it's predetermined. These are the conditions definitely going to keep going straight. But also, by understanding the very deterministic nature of the ship, we sometimes question, why don't we reconstruct the ship? Why don't we break down the ship? Why can't it be 100 different small ships that we use the same wood for? What if we make it faster? What if we make it smaller? It is still going to have a predetermined path once modified, but that determinism will have been kidnapped by human ingenuity through revolution. Okay? You get what I mean here? Jesus, today it is really philosophy class, I guess. Is the fact that I also study political science showing? It's weed barbecue. You have some real friends, man. You need a whiteboard so you can write 3 words and circle them. Yeah, you guys would take me more seriously. Yeah, it's how we answer that dumb fuck rebuke that reactionaries use, where like, oh, if your environment is what makes you, then how can there be any culpability because your circumstances define you, but they do not emancipate you from responsibility. You should be able as a capable thinking human being to not act unethically. Yes, and by beautifully put, by understanding that ethics is subjective and built by the environment in which we find ourselves in, we address quote unquote bad behavior not by simply waggling our finger like fucking liberals or neocons, but by doing something about it in a meta way to limit just how much quote unquote negative net behavior exists by addressing systemic issues which cause it. Right? So somebody sees somebody. Okay, you're walking. 2 guys are walking down the street. They see a guy running around kicking grandmas in the shin. One is a liberal, one is a Marxist. The liberal says this individual is the disgusting piece of fucking shit. He's running around kicking grandmas in the shin. He should be arrested, and so should everybody that kicks grandmas in the shin. That is how we're going to suppress grandma shin kicking. A Marxist says, "Oh wow, my whoa, dropping truth so hard the humidity has increased on the camera because the AC went." So the liberal is like, this guy doing this, it is very bad. I'm going to punish every guy that does this. A Marxist says this guy that is doing this is very bad. What can we do? Wow, this is getting really, I can't make my allegory because this is getting so fucking foggy. The fuck? This never happened before. Whoa. I am vanishing in the vapor, chat. But save me. Give me some oil to wash this. The hell? You know, see how truly HD I am. Damn, son. That never happened before. Is it foaming again? Stop it, dude. Hell on. Can I do my goddamn allegory already? God fucking damn it. Jesus, it's vaping it. I don't even vape anymore. What the fuck? He over here in the sauna with a masked Balkan and he's talking about grandma's shins. A liberal sees criminality and says, we must increase the budget for the police force because we need to catch more people. Our Marxist says, what can we do to ensure that people don't become criminals in the first place? Okay? That is the difference between a fucking idiot, aka a liberal, and a Marxist who actually thinks like a rational fucking human being. Okay? I just thought the conversation about the shins with grandma kicking was more fun than dropping into this, criminality. You know? The D&D dungeon mastering we do in this stream is the fun part of it, you know? I don't want to fucking sit and read you theory or some shit. Just keep it. It has a nice vibe to it. Smoking a reefer again? Yeah, brother. Anyways, chat, I have 400 people in here and only one Western taxpayer. Johnny, it is time for you to pay your oil tax for the day. Let's make that number go up. Today, we're really struggling with subs, so oil should flow. I would be very gracioso, okay? Very grateful. Throw the Twitch philosopher a coin. Reminds me of Shuan Head yesterday, where she got scared of criminality by living close to the poors. Yeah. Yeah, it's called being a cretin. Like, actually, just being fucking fake, deep, stupid.
Very much reflects social circumstances. And in Canada, where we're
just asking questions. Developing world oil always holds up the entirety of the sky. Let's go, chat. Purple. W for just asking questions. Thank you, my friend. I am cretin. No, you are not.
Speaking right now, Indigenous women never used to have rheumatoid arthritis. Now, today, in Canada, an Indigenous woman has 6 times the rate of rheumatoid arthritis than a Caucasian male. That's got nothing to do with gender or race. It's got to do with social structure, racism, and historical trauma.
Do you feel like it's almost spiritually like smallpox being brought in blankets, but this time, instead of the direct disease and its contribution,
Yeah! The chat has awakened. Rantin Andy, slowly digging his way out of the deepest well in known history. Peeks out, looks at chat and says, "We have struck oil!" Oil starts flowing everywhere. The rest of chat starts running in with buckets. Who is the next one that shall deliver their family here in the Ugopnik Twitch community? Another barrel of oil. Thank you, Rantin Andy, for also subscribing and finally unleashing the well we have all been begging off for.
it's the systemic forces.
Let's go.
Of capitalism.
Frick the Rogue looks at Rantin Andy and says, "Thank you, brother." They run towards each other in slow-mo and do a hand clasp, like a black and white hand, not handshake, like a high five thing. Rantin Andy and Frick the Rogue do this thing, like very fucking incredible, as they glisten in the sun and they start rubbing on each other. Nickel Pickle comes from the back and is like, whoa, this is escalating quickly. Can I dap? Thank you. Can I dap that up too? But they're ignoring him for now because they got those 10 barrels of oil rubbing in on one another. Oh yeah, oh God. Who might join this experience? Who wants to join Trick the Rogue and Rantin Andy as Nickel Pickle sits in the background and only watches? Yeah, that's the bit I'm doing for this hype train, yes. So we are in the hype train chat. Let's reach level 10. As the hype train continues, I am going to doing inspired, what do you want to call it, storytelling that involves all the people that participate in the hype train. Thank you very much, Rick the Rogue. We might have the ability to save today's stream from financial disaster. Missed headshot. Okay, as Trick the Rogue and Rantin Andy rub on each other. A sniper is perched on top of the nearby hill. It is Trick the Rogue's wife! Oh no! He is actually cheating on his wife with Rantin Andy. Missed Headshot is also a professional sniper. She shoots, but misses because her name is Missed Headshot. Now Trick the Rogue and Rantin Andy are fucking terrified. They start running, but they keep slipping because they're covered in oil. What will happen next? You didn't see that one coming, did you? Doom. Wait. Let me make it better. Western. For some reason I see all of this happening in a desert. Rantin Andy running away from Miss Headshot. Miss Headshot screams over the hill and says, "You cheating slut, I will kill you." Jesus, this music sucks. What the fuck is this? I hate this. No. Shit. Oh, this is good. Mom Z's shows up out of nowhere, pulls back her coat, and says, "I am a representative of the Union of Men Who Cheat, and I am here to protect my client." Slowly, Mom Z and Miss Headshot look at each other 20 meters distance. As the dust settles, who will pull out the pistol first? The representative of the Cheaters Man Union, or the white that has been cheated on? Chronic drops bits, which makes the ground shake. Yeah, brother. Song's so good. What happens, chat? Let's see. Current participants can make sure that their chances of winning increase by subbing again. Other participants, by subbing or gifting, you enter the conversation. Hot take: spaghetti Western music is better than American Western movie music. I actually don't know. The sun is slowly setting behind these two cowgirls. Mumsies pulled out first. Silence. Knees on the floor. Dust picking up. Blood blurting out of Miss Headshot's mouth. But no! That's not Miss Headshot! That's actually Rantin Andy! She had caught him and used him as a human shield. Then she pulls out a Glocky right behind his head and murders the shit out of Mumsy. Miss Headshot thinks the day is over, throws Rantin Andy's corpse to the side, chews her tobacco, and spits on the now dead Mumsy. Miss Headshot, not miss this headshot. Father Nuvu is a traveling priest who sees all of this happening. He comes and says, "No, my daughters and sons, the Lord loves you all equally. Why are you doing this to yourself? Oh no, two dead people. How wicked are these lands. I know I should have never left Birmingham to become a colonizer." God of negativity looks upon them from the sky and says, "Jesus, these people fucking crazy. What the fuck is happening?" Is this really like, what is even the timeline? Is this like old-timey Western. She just pulled out a Glock. The union of people who cheat? What the fuck? God of negativity is super weirded out. What the fuck is going... What is happening? What is happening? This is fun. I really enjoy this. This is how the story ends. Mumsy comes to the priest and slowly flirts because now she is husbandless, and the priest looks like a wise and kind man. The priest responds by saying, "No, I am servant of the Lord, and I cannot have anybody else by my side, for I will not be able to grant them the time they deserve, especially a lovely killer lady such as yourself." The priest then walks off. Nickel Pickle was in the background the entire time masturbating, because Nickel Pickle is really into Westerns, but like really into Western. As the priest slowly walks away, he says, "May God have mercy on your soul." And then silence. The desert is quiet. There's no birds, there's no wind, there's no footsteps. Everyone freezes. And Lucifer himself says, "God, there is no God here. When you stepped off those boats, you only brought me with you." And then time unfreezes, and the priest is like, "What the fuck just happened to me?" Quiet on the gifted. Many hours later, our group is passing through a small town. Nickel Pickle is still following them and feverishly masturbating. Missed headshot. He's a shop. What is this shop? They seem to be selling some strange shit. He walks in and there's an M16 apparently for sale. She says, "How much for the M16?" And the seller says, "You gotta get pregnant in order to get it."
Wonderful. A new child soldier. Subscriber.
Get it? Because the chatter's name is M16 and pregnant. So the price of the M16 in the Western is pregnancy. She has to get pregnant. She has to get pregnant. While they rest in the local tavern, the doors swing open. Because of the shadow above the tavern door, they can't see the face. There's blood dripping absolutely everywhere else. It's Rantin' Andy! Rantin' Andy is alive. And he is thirsty for tequila and vengeance. Miss Headshot starts shitting bricks. "No, Rantin' Andy! Don't kill me. I'm actually happy you're alive. I forgive everything. It's okay that you cheated on me. I'm actually extremely toxic because I'm a sniper and I kill people for a living." Well, Rantin' Andy looks her straight in the eyes and said, "No, I am only married to the bottle." As he chugs down a tequila, one of those that has like a snake inside of it. As all of this is going on, there's a bird. Is it a bird? Is it a Superman? Is it a plane? No, it's a bird. Flying around and saying, "These humans are very fucking weird. Can like a single one of them actually die? Because I'm very fucking hungry." because it's life according to a bird. I had to do that with your name. Like, your name is very, very niche. Thank you very much for the oil, by the way. I counted you as Western Tech. Do not ever post. I didn't see you. I have to dodge taxes, but I subscribe to communism. Absolute legend. I missed you. Missed you. Do not ever post. In the story, you just didn't post about it. Kino.
Imperialism, colonial violence.
Let's push the hype train because I'm greedy. That's the only reason. That there is greed coursing through my veins, and I want hype trains because I want the benefits of capitalism while critiquing it. Okay, so let's go. Give the anonymous Slavic man on the internet your money. It's literally the best way you can use
violence and its remnants that are redefining the way that
current top oilers are Crisco at number 1 with 35, Glitch Greens at number 2 with 20, and Missed Headshot at number 3 with 15.
People who have been subjected to this kind of systemic violence are.
If the reaction pod were named the good, the bad, and the ugly pod, who would be who? Very easy. I would be the ugly. Freda would be the good because he's a fucking angel, and Mike would be the bad because he's literally evil. So that one's very easy. And I'm ugly because I am ugly, and because I am neither good or bad. Very deep, okay? Very deep moment, bro. Bro said I am neither good or bad, bro. Fucking crazy.
Experiencing negative consequences.
Yo, that shirt is fire. You know you can get a 10% discount on this shirt, which is basically $5, which is how much a sub costs if you go on theprogramshop.com and buy it as a subscriber. Pretty crazy. Pretty crazy. Pretty crazy.
Interesting how you frame it, because there's a concept.
It's fucking Helion. Lenin giving you a fucking ciggy. Every subscriber, be it if you've been gifted or not, gets a 10% discount. Every single one.
Concept. I think it's a Lakota word, but it's an indigenous Native American term called Vetiko, W-E-T-I-K-O. It refers to the spirit of selfishness and aggression and exploitation. And the indigenous people saw the white people as carrying that spirit. It's almost like a virus that infects you. That's exactly what they mean.
So aside from the structural forms of inequality being reinforced, it's obvious that during COVID...
20 seconds of hype train left. Is the story going to continue, or is our Western finished? Rantin' Andy is an alcoholic. Missed Headshot is a sad, dumped ex-widow. And Nickel Pickle is masturbating feverishly. Dum-dum-dum-dum-dum. That is how this story concludes. Thank you very much to everybody that participated. That was fucking sick as hell.
Our society felt even more isolated than ever before. We've seen a generational breakdown between older...
If you had to rate yourself and Freda and Mike on the level of reactionary, what would you give? I would give 100 both to Freda and Mike, because Freda's Norwegian, which is Western, which is just reactionary by existing, and Mike because he's American. So I guess if we got to scale it, then Freda 90, Mike 100, and me 50.
Gen Z and younger Gen Z, depending on which mode of socialization that they were going through, and the impact of that has been very obvious. We saw a lot of younger Gen Z fall victim to right-wing radicalization on the internet, and even some of the older Gen Z as well. How do you feel like, how much of that is born out of loneliness and isolation and the trauma that it creates, and is there a way to solve that problem?
Well, first of all, it's interesting because with each new generation, the ratio of loneliness increases, and that's been going on for about 40 years, and that's been studied. So the people that define themselves as lonely, the numbers are going up and up and up. Now, when you're lonely, you're desperate. See, the thing about human beings is that we're not blank slates on which you can just write anything you want. We're products of evolution, just like other animals. And if you look at human evolution, there's been human or hominids on Earth for millions of years, human-like creatures. Our own species, Homo sapiens, we've been here 150, 200,000 years. Now, if you picture evolution on the face of my watch, and if 1 hour is evolution, then until 3 minutes ago, we lived in small band hunter-gatherer groups, totally connected to each other. The whole group went everywhere together. Children were raised by the whole.
Hence my earlier discussion about the flesh prison, because the flesh prison, aka the body, has adjusted itself so much to conditions that we no longer have to deal with. Like let's just look at exercise, for example. Like the necessity to keep your body strong so that you can hunt and kill, right? Which then stimulates other people when they look at quote-unquote a fit body to feel attracted to, because if somebody's fit, most likely could have hunted and killed and brought home more shit, right? Shit that's completely outdated, but like leads to like 80% of our society obsessing over it 24/7. You know what I mean? Like it's so many instincts that we still develop society around are just outdated, no longer necessarily necessary. I very speak English. It's interesting, isn't it? It's very interesting. And we don't have it in us to criticize it or to like relinquish ourselves from it, because again, it is constantly dictated to us by our body, by our code. We're still being massively influenced by the saber-toothed tiger, yeah.
Clan, extended family, uncles, aunts.
Was a Slav interested in American politics? I'm talking about the spirit's relation to their corporal form. The fuck we talking about American politics? Motherfucker thinks philosophy was invented by Americans. And we have to be interested in American politics because Americans are interested in the rest of us. Okay? We are forced to be interested in American politics because American politics keeps coming to our doorstep.
Neighbors, there was no separation, and communality, collaboration, and connection were absolutely essential for survival. And so we evolved expecting those. That's part of our nature. So any society then that increases people's isolation actually tramples on essential human needs. And this society, especially under the neoliberal dispensation, loneliness has been increasing to the point now. And that's not just a isolated emotional travail. What it actually is it undermines physiology, so that loneliness is as much of a risk factor for early death and illness as smoking or obesity.
Real answer is because your country's politics is not content enough for Twitch. That's also true. Yeah. That's true. I'm not going to deny that. Yeah. 50-60% of my audience is American, so I got to talk about American politics. But if there's one stream, a political stream on this platform that talks about international politics more than anyone else, it's this one. So we like to balance. Yep.
Even more so. So it has physiological impacts.
Fair. You got me there. That's fair. Not the only answer. I talk about American politics because they're literally the neighborhood rapists, as they say. That doesn't mean, gotta look out for the neighborhood rapist all the time. Discuss what he's thinking, because maybe the raper man is going to come rape her. But other than that,
it's just getting worse and worse with each generation.
how do you think we fix it without rolling back the clock to primitive communism?
Yeah. Well, nobody can. We can never go back. I mean, we're not going to be hunter-gatherers again.
I love the Engels drop there.
You know, it's a good thing for me, because if I did, I would starve to death, you know, given my particular ineptness at doing anything. But we can be aware of what we've lost. And we can see, well, given today's technology, given today's knowledge, given today's circumstances, how can we get back what we lost? How can we recreate structures, connections, interactions that promote togetherness rather than isolation? So, you know what? There's a bunch of techies in this room, I think for the most part, and the human mind is an incredible creative template. What if we actually put our attention and our intention at recreating communality, you know, given today's circumstances? We could do it if that was an intention. It's interesting because
For one, I think the primary good thing Hasan does is bring leftist perspectives to the forefront. Like, for God's sake, he's talking to Gabor right now. Yeah. The world is so crazy that one could say that, or ears listening to him, then even go, not crazy. But yes, that's his job at the bottom of the funnel.
Britain, it was
Impressive.
so bad.
It's very impressive.
They appointed a minister for loneliness. That's how bad it is. So we could.
Doesn't seem to be working.
Sorry?
Is it working?
I don't know who it is. Yeah, but so you know what I'm saying is, if you recognize it as a problem.
What just happened?
Is it working?
It was so bad they appointed a minister for loneliness. That's how bad it is. So we could.
Doesn't seem to be working.
Sorry?
Is it working?
I don't know who it is. Yeah, but so.
What? I think you got confused. The fuck?
But you know what I'm saying is, if you recognize it as a problem, we could deal with it, but we have to recognize it.
Yeah. This is something that I experienced personally during COVID.
Yeah.
I went independent in the end of 2019. I left my job at the Young Turks, and I decided to take a gamble and go on my own and become a Twitch streamer. And I was going to follow Bernie Sanders around. And I did.
Mm-hmm.
And then COVID happened.
Mm-hmm.
And then Super Tuesday happened. And then, unfortunately...
Tell me what Super Tuesday was.
Super Tuesday was when Joe Biden won all of the states that he didn't even go.
Oh, I didn't realize Hasan was on Young Turks. I never watched him. That's exceptionally important for contextualizing his trajectory. Like, don't you ever wonder why Hasan is as astronomical as possible? As astronomical as possible. What the fuck? I really can't speak English today. Is as big as he is because he had a massive, insanely massive platform to start out on, right? Which he then brought with him over to Twitch when he left the Young Turks. And that is a start that almost nobody has. This is not a call out. He very often mentions the privilege of having been able to work for a family member's insanely popular media company and then bring a lot of that audience to Twitch and then grow it into something that is as sizable as that. Would he have been able to grow so much if he didn't have that background? Maybe yes, probably no. This is not a comment on particular skills or charisma. Just, if you have a lot of sand to play with, you can build a very big sand castle, or you can build jack shit. He acknowledges he had a lot of sand to play with, and he also successfully built a big sand castle with. But it's different when, I don't know, if like a dude from an 8,000 people town in rural buttfuck nowhere in the Balkans just goes on YouTube or on the fucking on Twitch while wearing a fucking ski mask and start screaming about shit than coming from like the fucking Young Turks, right? It's just a different galaxy, different fucking dimension, right? When it comes to what. So we all have our sand, our amounts of sand, and we try to build our sand castles with it. You know?
The Democrats cheated.
Yeah.
Called privilege or something.
And they stopped.
You guys ever hear about privilege? It's an interesting concept.
Bernie Sanders.
That's right.
It was devastating. One of the worst moments of my life, still to this day.
Really?
But thank you for clapping for that. Yes.
So you were disillusioned, were you?
Well, I was disillusioned.
Yeah, well, let me ask you this.
Are you going to... Oh, no. Uh-oh. This is what I was worried about. I watched you talk to Hasan Minhaj, and I was really worried you were going to start tugging on some things.
CA notebook, you got is from a rural village.
Well, I'm only asking a simple question.
Okay.
Would you rather be illusioned or disillusioned?
I would rather be illusioned.
You'd rather be illusioned?
No, well,
you'd rather
sometimes
believe in fairy tales, is that right?
Ignorance is bliss, but bliss is overrated.
Yes, but here's what I mean.
Yeah.
I'd rather hold on to hope.
Well.
And have a North Star that I'm working towards.
But would you rather have that hope based on reality or based on a fantasy?
True, based in reality, of course.
Okay, well then it's a good thing to be disillusioned.
Okay.
And you were disappointed by Super Tuesday? I wasn't. I never expected anything otherwise. I expected the Democrats to be Democrats.
Yeah, it's true.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, but go on.
But see, this is why I say it's good to be a little bit illusioned, though, because I still maintain this perhaps silly naivete, this optimism that there is.
He almost said revolutionary optimism, but he was like, I gotta tone it down a bit.
Some changes that we can make within the party system, which is why I'm now working to elect in the primary system as many left-flank candidates as possible. I am not optimistic that entryism as a strategy is going to actually work, and all of a sudden in bourgeois, capitalist, neoliberal democracy, one of the two major parties is going to turn into a communist party by any means. But I think it's important to advance the contradictions, not necessarily advance the contradictions personally, but at least advance class consciousness.
Well, look, so I suppose we could debate politics here, but I'm holding this book here, Meta-Normal, which is my most recent book, and I talk about this question. And it was Ralph Nader, I think, who said that you can have your choice between Tweedledum or Tweedledee. It's a question of which one. Do you want Tweedledee? You want vote Democrat. You want Tweedledum? Vote dumb. Vote Republican. You know, but I don't particularly believe that this system is amenable to party reform, and you know it's not. But look, if you believe in it,
yeah. But Hasan isn't saying that that's amenable to party reform. They're speaking past each other. They're not getting. It's kind of low key here. Hasan is doing globe head on him, like 1 billion IQ, relatively deep into the lore that the guy you're talking to thinks you don't know anything about the lore. So they're explaining Lord of the Rings 1 while Hasan is ranting about extended cut Lord of the Rings 3, right? So they both have good intentions, but they don't know each other's power levels to an extent. At least Gabor doesn't know Hasan.
And if you want to work for it and put your energies into it, as long as your eyes are open.
By the way, we are reaching the 3rd hour. Reminder to pay your taxes, support the show. We are only 35 subs away from Gamba. So somebody that's pretty crazy drops 35 subs. They will be able to spin the Wheel of Fortune for them and potentially double them. Thank you very much for your consideration.
Good for you.
Yeah.
You know, and I just, more power to you. Do it, but then be ready to draw the proper conclusions based on what happens.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, the primary purpose that I think I see with the way that the primary system works is to advance class consciousness, to elect people like Zoran that will show that there's a different path that you can chart, even with the significant set.
Just here so I don't get fined. Fuck. Fined how?
Backs, oftentimes afforded by powerful.
Wait, sorry, I wasn't listening. Honestly,
and put your energies into it. As long as your eyes are open, good for you.
Yeah.
You know, and I just, more power to you. Do it, but then be ready to draw the proper conclusions based on what happens.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, the primary purpose that I think I see with the way that the primary system works is to advance class consciousness, to elect people like Zoran that will show that there's a different path that you can chart, even with the significant setbacks oftentimes afforded by powerful interests, capitalist class, and even in many instances the party itself, the Democratic Party itself. So I guess I'm not disillusioned, or I guess I'm not illusioned, rather, in my idea that, like, you know, this is going to magically turn everything.
Time will tell. I met Zoran once, and I was quite impressed with him as a person, and I even asked him, I said, there's lots of people with idealism who gain some position within the system, but then they get kind of metabolized and digested by the system. And what are you going to do to keep you from that happening to you? And he gave a very impressive answer. He said, first of all, he has to keep close to the people that elected him.
Literally what I said. Yeah. Literally me, bro. Literally what I said. Crucial.
Not to the power structure.
That's a good politician answer.
Yeah. And secondly, I have to look in the mirror every day and ask myself, am I being true to myself? So whether he'll do that, time will tell. He's a very promising figure. Whether the system, and to what degree the system will let him make actual reforms, time will tell.
Yeah. I want to go back to the COVID era, though, because I made the mistake of saying I was illusioned. Became disillusioned.
Thank you, Cuphead. Very cool. Thank you, Cuphead.
But the reason why I brought that up is because it was an unprecedented amount of loneliness that people were experiencing, and they were looking desperately to online communities. Now, one of the things that I have personally encountered in the aftermath of this was that there were a lot of reactionary communities that formed, as well as communities like myself, the one that I created, with a very specific purpose to try to get people to go and organize in their communities and organize in their workforces and form labor unions, have a crumb of autonomy or a crumb of control in their own lives. I feel like that's a very powerful way to...
Did you say a crumb?
A crumb, yes.
Oh, that's a very accurate way of putting it.
Yeah.
Look at your own language.
You think it's too negative of a framing?
No, I'm saying it's realistic.
Yeah.
A crumb is very little. That's exactly what you get.
Yeah, but little by little...
Because the actual control...
Yeah.
Like if you actually look at who controls things and how many people... I mean, what is the statistics? 0.1% of the world's population own more than 50% of the world's population?
Yeah.
So, yeah, we get crumbs.
Yeah. I mean, it's a tremendous system of inequality. It's designed this way, and it's very sophisticated in its design. Especially the way propaganda works, that makes a lot of people feel comfortable and sedated.
Very classic disagreement between a person that advocates for direct smash the system revolution and the person who is an agitator for socialism, who fault him or think that the strategy is positive. Only time will tell. Who believes that the Democratic Party and certain very progressive figures in it can be used as a propaganda mechanism to inspire greater levels of class consciousness in the wider population, both by showing how good their successes are and how promising an actual true non-reformist socialist can be whenever they do well, but also showing the inadequacies of the electoral system in the United States and capitalism in the United States when well-intentioned reformist socialists are crushed by sad system, right? These are the theoretical underpinnings that drive Hasan's approach towards American elections and American political candidates run under the Democratic Party. Now, you can criticize by saying this will offset greatly, and you will basically be doing the reverse. You will be introducing potentially radical socialists into the Democratic Party structure. So basically, it's going to bore them. It's going to eat them up, spit them out. This is a decent bet for you to have. Is a decent bet to have. Theories applied in praxis. Okay? What do you do when you do that? You are writing a thesis. Whether the thesis is correct or not, only time and application shows. So let's see what it shows. Okay? I don't know how many times in this lovely stream with you lovely motherfuckers do I have to hammer it in that a diversity in, what do you want to even call it? A diversity in interpreting how a revolution can come about is not bad. The only thing that can be bad that comes out of this is if there is a subsect of fellow comrades that refuses to admit to a fallacy in their approach, in their thesis, once things transpire. This is usually during time of revolution. That is when, very far away, unfortunately for us, but that is when power must be consolidated. Fortunately, the time of theory and theses comes to pass, and whichever particular socialist movement has been elected by the masses to carry the flag, so to say, must be integrated into. Ego must be put to the side. Different socialist interpretations of how to bring about class consciousness and revolution must be put to the side. And integration or annihilation. That's the ugly part of revolution. That's why no revolutionary socialist fucking likes it. But hey, we're far from that, so don't worry, chat. I'm not gonna NKVD you just yet. Speaking of NKVD, support the show, pay taxes so that we can have these wonderful conversations. Slightly more meta conversations in which I hope I am able to bring conversations where we look at many different approaches to socialist agitation and discuss them as schools of thought from the side and not simply picking a particular one and masturbating to it feverishly as the most right guy in the world, even though that is contradictory to Marx's thought. Okay? Even when Marx was criticizing other class-conscious writers of his time, he was saying, I think you're a fucking idiot. I think this is my approach. But if Marx saw that their approach was the more correct one, he would have fucking adapted. The reason we're talking about Marx and not like the 700 other fucking writers that were trying to pitch a similar idea but different during his time is because Marx's vision and theory ended up being the most correct one. Marx's interpretation of capitalism ended up being the most correct one. It was not the most correct one because he was chosen by God or something, or because he was smarter. It is because he put his thesis on paper and then it turned out to be true once applied. So how can we believe that we know what application of Marxism to the 21st century context is the most right one. It's our duty to set up our approach. Mine, not necessarily because I try to pitch this as wide net as possible. I'm trying this idea, right? And Hasan, obviously. But it is on you as people in organizations, leading organizations, funding organizations, to figure out a school of thought that you follow proudly, a school of thought that you will adjust if you're wrong during the process of application. That's it. There you go. It's basic fucking Lenin. Marx would have probably been pissed off about the whole status stuff. Actually, pretty decent hot take, yeah. Yeah, that doesn't mean that he was right. Right? Somebody had a more realistic, applicable form of upkeeping revolution, which we had with the Bolsheviks in the Soviet Union. So even if that's why I keep telling you guys not to treat it as a religion. What if zombie Marx, let's imagine a world where zombie Marx wakes up during the Cold War and he actually says the USSR is not real socialism. Are the people of the USSR, the leadership of the USSR and so on, supposed to go absolutely fucking insane? No, they're supposed to say, well, thank you very much for your theories. Thank you very much for your thesis. We applied it this way here. Where's your massive socialist state, Marx? Right? You understand what I'm saying? This is not a discussion of how gravity works, which is set in stone. It's a movement. We fucking adjust. If that means I'm a fucking revisionist, then so be it.
Not acknowledge.
You know who was a fucking revisionist? Every single fucking socialist leader in the history of mankind. Except the guy who built bunkers. Okay. Want that style of socialism, I'm not your fucking guy.
Acknowledge the tremendous consolidation of power and the hardships that they go through. And then you have one flank, the reactionary forces, fascists, that will take advantage of that angst, that animosity, and try to harness all of that anger into
Anyways, unironically, chat, subscribe. Let's go. The third hour is upon us. May the Lords of Oil bless us with sprinkles on top of sprinkles on top of sprinkles. Let me see the chat turn purple. If you want to support Philosophy Hour with you, because I'm enjoying this so fucking much. Marx was a revisionist because science is revisionist. Hypothesize, test, theorize, and build. Nothing stagnates. I want to kiss you on the fucking lips, Malrich. Fuck yeah, you turned me on with that statement. Fuck! Shit, I'm so fucking turned on. Fuck yeah! Oh, God! The W! Beautiful. Fuck, I love how smart some of you are. Shit! Thank you, Skin Job, for the 5. Goosebumps.
Organized violence in many instances, and also...
We need to kill science now. That fucking revisionist. Yeah, science, that piece of shit is such a fucking... keeps changing up his thesis, dude. Crazy. I like to use my friend as an example here. He, anarchist, believes people moving into the cities was eventually bad for humanity. I agree, but I also recognize that people, not en masse, move into the cities. We wouldn't have the scientific and material advancements in history. So while bad for humanity, the move into cities also had a lot of good. Absolutely. Absolutely. And sometimes you will not see eye to eye because unironically your conditions are different. Your interests are different. Your interests are different. Sometimes we will see socialists that are not from America going like rabid dogs at socialists from the United States. And even those who, to an extent, if we truly have internalized Marxian wisdom, we'll be like, I get it. Because to them, the American is a fucking child murdering, raping Terminator. So any socialist that wants to decide between child murdering, raping Terminator A or child murdering, raping Terminator with a, LGBTQ plus flag B is going to look like absolutely insane because that's the position they're coming from. Okay? Your interests are not aligned. You are a labor aristocrat to them. You forever will be. You understand what I'm saying? They're not aligned. So yes, you will be opponents, probably forever. Probably forever. Yeah, probably forever. That's why we don't engage in morality, fucking bitch shit, little bitch shit. No, as much as we understand that these fucking perspectives is we coming from different places. Can the subs have a communal toothbrush, dear masked man? If you drop a 5 now, I will give you the biggest, thickest communal toothbrush you've ever seen. Be able to do some crazy stuff with that toothbrush if you know.
Stochastic terror. I wanted to ask you about this in particular. How much do you think that isolation has contributed to increased acts of
in your socialism, be a centrist. You can put that on my grave.
Random.
In your socialism, be a centrist.
Instances of violence that's taking place all around the world now, as a matter of fact, even in places where they previously had no school shootings?
Well, first of all, just in terms of what you said about propaganda, James Baldwin, the great American writer, he said that words in this country are used more to cover the sleeper than to wake him up.
Yeah.
So there's a tremendously sophisticated propaganda system, and I grew up in Eastern Europe under communism, where there was a very crude propaganda system that everybody could see through. It's much more clever here. It's just as pernicious and as controlling, but it's far more insidious and less easy to see. Now, in terms of the question about, there was a terrible school shooting here in British Columbia a couple of months ago. 8 children were killed by somebody who was clearly mentally ill, somebody who the mental health system had clearly failed. And when you look at these people that commit these shootings, they're usually very lonely, troubled individuals who have festered in their own isolated little world, usually because of trauma, and with tremendous resentment and anger and frustration towards the world, which then they express through their horrific acts, so that the increasing
blah blah blah, socialism or barbarism, etc., etc.
Isolation certainly feeds that, because again, given that we have this need for connection, we actually are, we have brains that are wired for all these different emotions, and one of them is love. We're actually wired for love, but when that's blocked, there's a tremendous frustration. And these school shooters or these people who commit violence are always people. Something happened and that isolated them, that hurt them, and then gave them tremendous frustration.
So one of the things I've identified as a possible...
I'm a centrist. I want socialism and barbarism. I love that. I never heard that. I never heard that one. That is lovely. It's actually funny. The two things are white and black, right? Like one kicks on in, one bounces it. Marxism, barbarism. Want a interpretation of communism to be one which leads us to regress back into feudalism.
Solution that I want to run by you.
Yeah.
Based Marxists wants the king to come back. Marxist monarchist. Pol Pot thought. That is socialism barbarism right there. Our first Pol Pot enjoyer in chat.
Is, like I said, organizing and trying to be more ever-present in the communities that we exist in the real world. Because I feel like increasingly in this age of isolation, we find ourselves desperately seeking out a sense of kinship, a sense of community, a sense of shared purpose. And oftentimes we find that on the internet.
And just as you mentioned earlier, these various right-wing groups, they do give people a sense of belonging, and they do give people a sense of shared understanding, and they give people a sense of meaning and purpose, you know, and that's powerful.
Yeah, and I guess the question I have is, how do you combat the ease of access and the immediate gratification that these right-wing spaces offer? One of these spaces.
Great fucking question. Oh my God, have I been lamenting on this my entire fucking life? Oh,
Is called the manosphere. I was once a young man. I'm 34 now. In my industry,
over the hill.
Yeah, over the hill.
Yeah.
1 foot in the grave. And I remember feeling.
Up, unks. Not fucking unk.
Emotional, feeling worried about my future.
Yeah.
I remember the complexities in interpersonal relationships that seeking after or seeking the love of a crush that I had in high school, and and how terrified I was to even reveal my feelings to them. Oftentimes just never really going out and talking to them. And if I was growing up in this current media environment, I probably would have also found myself in the throes of the manosphere, because there is this alluring spell that
reactionary politics have. They can adjust themselves to any societal category. When it comes to the manosphere, they're basically fascists who view the woman as the ultimate subhuman, but at the same time incredibly powerful and main problem in society. For man has betrayed his own interests by quote-unquote giving women rights, and the only way to achieve a great golden past, in this case of the nuclear family, is by taking those rights back from women. There you go. I've said this sentence so many times, it's basically coming out without me even having to initiate any brain pattern, any thinking, right? Different eras, different times require different reactionary politics, okay? They adjust. Arguably one of the best targets, if I was a reactionary, I would just harp women like crazy. Fucking perfection. Absolutely. Okay, fine, women's rights, but what about women's wrongs? You stream tomorrow or on Sunday? Both days, daddy. Yes. I mean, it's good to be proud of yourself, but not just because you're male, of course. Fuck.
can just as they can so easily.
I keep the entirety of my patriotism exclusively attached to my species, bro. Exclusively attached to my species. This is my unwritten theory that I will unironically write one day. That it kind of answers a part of his particular question. There is some weird metaphysical itch that us Marxists in our materialism just cannot itch. And I genuinely believe it's one part of quote-unquote human nature that we've discussed before that is absurdly tribal. Don't do the fucking in-out group. We do it with capitalists, like they're the out group, but that's such a specific category. Okay? Because you can't encourage like patriotic patriotism and tribalism about your fellow proletariat. Fucking difficult. It's difficult. Really difficult. That's why I have the fucking species pitch, because it also at the same time is tribal, because it will other everyone who is against unification of the species. Call it radical internationalism. Or you can be Toasty, who says, I'm not superior because of my gender or species, I'm superior because I'm me. Toasty, yes you are.
easily communicate to young men. The idea that it's systemic forces that are at play and that are at fault for the anxieties that they feel. Not the systemic forces of capitalism, but instead systemic forces such as feminism.
Feminism, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, something very difficult has happened to men, which is that the factory system, the corporate factory system, for all its depredations and exploitations.
Masculinity, I'm talking about cis straight people here. Masculinity is defined by one's relation to femininity. One's relation to femininity changes because of systemic changes, such as, for example, the death of the nuclear family, right? Because we've grown past the need for the nuclear family. It pushes masculinity into a state of crisis because they've been raised with one idea of what it is to be a man, and now they cannot exercise it. That is an incredible opportunity for both anti-patriarchal socialists to come to them and explain them that that does not have to be the case whatsoever, my dear brother, and give them a fucking hug and a kiss on the beautiful cheeky. Or the forces of reaction to come and tell them, oh, no, you just got to go back. To bring back the nuclear family. We gotta make sure that your dad's definitions of what it is to be masculine that you now cannot live are brought back. Yeah. Anyways, I'm a living being supremacist. I love that. Anyways, I gotta go and make draniki with a bunch of fucking Russian cunts and Ukrainian cunts and Macedonian cunts. So I'm gonna send you. Who should I send you to? Yesterday I sent you to Little Bear. Shuka. Pom chicka pom chicka pom. Chicka pom chicka pom chicka pom chicka pom. I'll send you to Mike. Fuck it. Go and complain to Mike that he never raised me. Be very petty about it. Be very petty and annoying about it. Like, what are you afraid of, Mike? I'm a fucking weekend streamer anyways. You don't stream on the weekend. And then kiss him on the cheek and say that we're joking. I love that little piece of shit. He's fucking lovely. Okay. Goodbye, chat. Thank you for the oil. Thank you for the taxes. Thank you for your time. Thank you for the great conversations. Did we like Philosophy Hour with Hugo? Was that fun? I found that to be extremely fun. Oh, wait. No, you're all Marxists. I can't call it Philosophy Hour. Let me call it Theory Hour. Or does that make you feel a little bit better? Theory Hour with Hugo. Like, woo. That was 50 out of 10, 10 out of 10, 10 out of 10, 10 out of 10, 6 out of 7. Fucking shit. Hardcore Communism Lenin Hour. Oh, so you guys did like it. Okay. I'll do it more. Thank you, my children. Go forth and multiply, but not with each other, because the baby's going to look freaky. Okay. Goodbye. Mwah.